Now, say my name.
The Rolling Bad Podcast.
You're goddamn right.
Welcome to the Rolling Bad Podcast, episode number 54, coming to you from the desolate wastelands of Albuquerque, New Mexico. We're recording on September 15th, and I am your host, Elric Edge. And with me is...
Ryan Taylor.
And...
Dave Witek.
Yeah?
Yeah, no, it's Bill Costello. Sorry. We're not that big yet.
If you'd like to get a hold of us, you can reach us at our email address, which is rollingbadpodcast.
Wow. Some people just can't figure out new pages.
I was reading the teleprompter.
I'm Ron Burgundy.
Yeah.
Messed with it, dude. You should totally mess with it.
Yeah.
Great.
I hate you all.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway.
Dirty potty mouth.
Yeah.
How could you, Ron? How could you?
So, what are we going to do today?
I'll probably hear you gush more about Nova.
Can I?
Anybody cares about that. I
Can
mean,
I?
yeah, go for it. How was it? Great. Anyway, so we're going to talk about... we're going to do a lot of our normal stuff, talk about what's coming out. I don't know. I guess there's like a new book or something. Some stuff has come out. I don't know. Hobby, games, etc. And then in our juicy lore section, we will have more interviews that you did at Nova.
Yes, we will.
So that's good. And then we will also be tackling the Realm of Flames, Fire and Flames, Through the Fire and Flames. So we're all going to play Guitar Hero.
Sweet.
Oh,
I'm
awesome.
ready.
Yeah.
My mind is not, but my body is.
Yeah.
I've been practicing all week.
All right.
Sweet. Yeah, the Realm of Akshi.
Yeah.
We're going to be delving into that goodness. The Realm of Retcon is more like it, but
There's
all
a
good.
little of that. Yeah.
just a taste.
It's more expanding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Filling
So-
up voids.
Anything else you want to do here at the top of the show there, Bill?
I sure do. In the My God, thank you for listening to us. I want to thank our two new Patreons.
Sweet.
Yeah. The first one is Fred Volsky, Voelzke, Volsky. Our second new Patreon is Juravel Qualthas. Now, I know who that is, but he doesn't want to, he likes his anonymity. So thank you. Thank you both for supporting us.
Yeah.
We really
Thanks a lot.
appreciate it.
Much appreciated.
Yes, it is. And in side news, there was an issue that happened to Garage Hammer this week. Dave Witek, Alex Gonzalez, over at Garage Hammer. There was an episode with iTunes where their podcast got dropped out of iTunes for a little bit. It's all back now, but unfortunately, Dave lost all of the Garage Hammer reviews that he's been building up over the past, 10 years? So if you're a Garage Hammer listener and you have a chance, go back to iTunes and drop another review in there. Because when I looked this morning, he was 3 reviews and mine was one of them. So he's really only got 2.
So what you're saying is that we're the highest rated American Age of Sigmar podcast?
Yeah, I would direct them to leave a review for us, and while you're there, maybe for Garage Hammer.
Well, what you could do is
if you
leave
find
us
it
a
in-
good review,
Yeah.
and then
Vent all your anger at those guys.
all your I hate direct that to Dave.
So we're at the top.
Yeah, and we're the
Wow.
cream of the crop.
Man, so this is what the top of
With
the mountain
4
feels
reviews.
like. Yeah, with 4 reviews.
I think we have like
And there's-
30 or something in there.
3 of us.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Don't
well,
worry about it.
Thanks,
No, my
Mom.
mom.
and one of them. I was going to add my mom in there, but she's dead.
Wow, Bill. Thanks for...
I could make an account for her though.
Yeah. Jesus.
Review fraud.
Yeah, review.
Yeah, we're gonna get pulled
It
from
starts
Twitter.
with an iTunes review. Next thing you know, you're voting 10 times. So
Whatever. Oh, stop.
stop. Yeah. Stop,
Now we're
stop.
getting into legal ground.
Wah, wah. All right.
And then tacked on to the end of today's show, we're also going to have, like you said, some more Nova interviews. Have an interview with Aaron Bastian, who is the chief herder of cats out there for the AOS stuff. And we're also going to have Sam Butler from Games and Gears. He's going to talk about their really cool brush system out there, which I'm a big fan of. And you'll hear more about it from him. And we also have Casey Dunn, who is one of the guys from Best Coast Pairings, talking about the Best Coast Pairings app and what it's doing and what their plans are and what the future looks like. So that'll be on the end of this thing. But for now,
I think we're ready for New Dawn.
Let's do dinner and then New Dawn.
Let's do New Dawn and dinner. And now for the New Dawn, where we're going to talk about releases from Games Workshop while we've been in between weeks, and then pre-orders.
Yeah.
Where do we want to start? Pre-orders or what came out?
About what came out.
Yeah. Let's do that.
Yeah, because pre-orders are pretty cool. We'll do the big one last. So Rogue Trader made it here finally. If you're into that whole 40k Kill Team Rogue Trader or Gellerpox, which are actually a pretty cool looking thing too, it's here. And I have it sitting down here on the floor.
Oh, nice. We can look through the sprues and see. Oh, no, you'd have to open it.
Violate the shrink wrap? Man, what is your...
Prayers to Domicile. I do think the Geller Plague that seems to have been released is an interesting impact potentially for the rest of 40k.
Yeah.
Whether or not you like the models or not, which are pretty sweet.
Yeah.
But I think it's for the grander 40k, now that your one way of getting through the warp is starting to get corrupted.
Yeah, a little weird.
Seems like a cool turn. And I don't know much about 40k, so I just assume that that's new.
Nice.
It just, it kind of makes me wonder. I think a while back we thought about, what if they're going to split up the galaxy into little areas, little realms that have their own little things going on, to where, you have Baal with the Blood Angels and they have their own deals. You have McCrag with the Ultramarines doing their thing, and there's not a lot of travel between them, so there's not a lot of any more cross-pollination, if you will. I mean, we talked about that once. I wonder if they're kind of going down that road, because if you start messing with warp travel, you mess with the whole 40k universe.
You just got to do it like the Necrons do.
Yeah.
Just wake up.
Do it that way.
Yeah, and then there's the Rogue Trader Codex that will be coming out soon as well. So
it'll be interesting to see where they're taking
the mutants as well.
Yeah, they will be getting their own.
Both sides get their stuff.
Yeah,
I think the saddest rule in Kill Team for Rogue Trader definitely is the fact that when the dog dies, no one cares.
Yeah,
really.
Yeah, I feel it should be the other way. Suddenly your Rogue Trader turns into John Wick.
Yeah.
I think it'd be unstoppable.
That would be cool. Yeah. I don't think it fits the fluff, though. The narrative, the backstory of 40k.
I'm surprised that dog hasn't mutated yet.
Yeah.
Or at least that there wasn't one on the other side.
Maybe
was like a little mutated dog.
Maybe dogs don't mutate
Ooh.
in 40k. Maybe dogs are immune to the taint of chaos. Maybe cats are the that turn like they would be. They would.
They would be the chaos forces.
Maybe there are no dogs.
Wow.
We're getting deep now.
Yeah, thanks for ruining 40K.
It's quite all right. I'm here all week. No, I like your idea of the galaxy being divided up. I think it adds... When I think of 40K, if I think of it as anybody can come from anywhere at any time through the warp, it reduces the story of the Space Marines. Right, if your Space Marines are super powerful, but they're limited in number. But if every chapter can show up to the world, then who cares?
Yeah.
Whereas if it's the Blood Angels fighting a desperate battle on their planet or their sector, the Space Wolves using their heightened senses to find people in sewers. Stupid. But what
is that really the place you would want to have a heightened sense of smell?
That was the background for Tooth and Claw.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. But you imagine getting that call? Like, oh, we're gonna go finally take down Abaddon and end this crusade. No, actually.
Yeah. What we need you for is
something else. I mean, we could use Astra Militarum, but you guys smell really well and can see slightly better than regular guys that can already see heightened senses.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I also wonder how terrible the rest of the chapters are. That they can't smell anything. Is there a chapter out there who's just got... That's their defect in their gene seed?
Yeah, they can't smell anything.
I can't smell anything.
Your nose factory thing is broken.
So, So I also just wonder if the Space Wolves are going past the planet and they're like, smell that? Yeah. Okay, let's go. Yeah.
We're stopping here.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's nuts. But yeah, I think it adds a little bit more attention to, can that chapter be wiped out? I don't think it'll happen, but I think it definitely can add a little bit more to that.
Well, and it adds a little extra flavor to, like, orcs that can just pop out wherever.
Right.
You know, and that's all they're trying to do. Is just, they love how chaotic everything is right now.
Yeah.
Because they just jump into the warp and either they are immediately assaulted by demons or they just get spit out into a war zone because the entire universe, the entire galaxy is just in a constant state of war.
Yeah, they don't care if mutations happen next to whatever's powering their thing.
Yeah.
You know, they're like, sweet, something to fight. Oh, wait a minute, that's how we were getting places. Guess we're here now.
Yep. Well, I'm right where I want to be because the fighting's right here.
Yeah.
You
Doesn't
know,
hurt them
that's
one
the beauty
bit.
of orcs, man.
I
Orcs
know.
are so... Orcs is the best.
Simple-minded.
They're really good at making sports cars now.
Yeah, really. Yep.
Gilliman's like, I would like one of them, please. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'd commission a couple of mech boys.
Oh, yeah.
Move over, what's that Ed Mech guy's name?
Oh, Belisarius Call.
Yeah, move over call.
I feel like he's like the Tesla of...
He's the Elon
cars.
Musk.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. He's
A lot of great
he's
ideas.
like,
but-
so a really great spaceship you've got there.
Yeah.
It's got autopilot. We just rely on that Geller engine. It's
Yeah.
okay. Nothing can go wrong.
Does that mean the stocks of Mars drop when he calls like some inquisitor a pedophile?
He's like,
Wow,
I've got
did
this,
we just evolve?
Whoops.
and a little bit of silence. And we're back in.
Yeah. No, let's talk about other new releases
Yeah.
from Games Workshop before we go down that rabbit hole.
So we had a couple of new Titans.
Reaver Titans for Adeptus Titanicus, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's the only way I'll ever own a Titan. So,
Yeah, with that attitude.
I actually am going to be coming into some money soon, and I've been trying to work out how to spend it.
Oh.
Or not spend it. You know, I'm trying to be sensible. I'm like, okay, air conditioning, pay off some debts, cool. And then
Reaver
I'm like,
Titans? I don't know.
Or an actual warlord. Not for Adeptus Titanicus,
Ooh.
but
I don't like the look of it.
doesn't matter. You buy it because it's expensive and ridiculous, and you'll never actually use it in the game.
You'll be the only kid on your block that has
I'm
one.
actually looking for a Chaos War Mammoth.
Oh, nice.
That is, I really love that model, and unfortunately I was a kid when it got discontinued. So
Yeah.
my parents used to bulk at me getting $5. So getting the like $200 to get one of them
Might be a
is
little
not
tart.
going to happen. But I've been looking at how to convert it, and there's nothing big enough.
Yeah. I don't know. Everything I've heard from people who own them say you just look at it funny and stuff breaks off.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure.
So,
But
Well, the ones that Brian Orban had out there at Nova were ones that he sort of created, by
convert it from other
upscaling
stuff.
different
well, you
things.
really should put like a step-by-step tutorial for us that can do that.
You got to get a 3D printer first.
Step 1, done.
Yeah,
you
there you go.
Yeah.
There you
No,
go.
print a Reaver Titan.
Yeah.
Sorry, not a Reaver Titan. A Titan
Warlord.
that Reeves
Yeah.
would be
Oh,
its name on the site, probably.
Yeah.
I don't know. Recasters are popping up more and more since
Yeah.
Forge World, the Outlash
Yeah. Well,
against
good
that.
for them. Whatever. Oh no, this expensive hobby that I'm into is expensive, so I won't be expensive. Whatever. Anyways, moving on.
Moving
But
on.
moving on.
So, we're going to get to pre-orders then. So, the big pre-order that I looked at and was real interested in and bought was the Knight Preceptor Canis Rex. It's a just regular Questoris Knight, so it's the regular Imperial Knight.
Regular?
Yeah.
I feel like you're downplaying his role here.
Okay. He's super cool for, a regular. He's not a warlord or, a oh my god knight. But what's cool about this kit is, and if I may quote from their site, this kit can be built as either a Knight Preceptor, Canis Rex, Errant, Paladin, Warden, Gallant, or Crusaders. The weapons are interchangeable and can be used as spares for any other knight kits you might have. So this is pretty big for the knight boxes because I know the two latest big ones, the Valiant and the Crusader, each one only builds that model.
No.
And then for most of the other knights, you do get some weapon options, but not all of them. And if you've built certain combinations, you're kind of stuck now with your extra knight. So having all this extra stuff lying around from this box is going to be really handy for making the mods that you want to make.
How much more expensive is he than a regular knight?
He was, I believe, $157, so he was more expensive. I don't know the exact cost, but he also comes with Sir Hector.
Yeah.
So the character, so you got to figure he's about $25-$30 of that.
I was just going to see if it would be better just to buy a bunch of these if you wanted to do a knight army instead of.
Well, actually, if you were going to do it, if you were going to try to get into it, you would probably buy one of these and one of the regular, warden or something, so that you could then mix and match the weapons however you felt like it. So,
so it looks like the Paladin and the Ern are $140, so you're paying $17 more for all the options.
All the weapons.
For all
and
the
a foot guy.
Yeah.
And a guy that, when his giant robot breaks, he decides to run on foot.
That's what I would do.
Because, in a fight like that, I'd be on foot. Sure.
Yeah. If there's something big enough out there that can wreck my giant walker thing, I'd totally want to run around with a pistol in my hand.
Mm-hmm.
I totally would as well, because he's probably not going to notice you.
Pew, pew.
If you stay in the wreckage, you probably just get mauled.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm pretty sure those ATSTs saw those Ewoks just fine.
Yeah.
And blasted the crap out of them. Of course, they deflected it with their garbage plot armor. But anyways.
I was like, bad example, the Ewoks won.
Yeah, I know. Well, hey, not all of us can direct good movies.
So next up, they have the return of the Imperial Knight transfer sheet. So that went up for pre-order today.
Nice.
So all those people that missed it the first time, it's back. So what's next is of far more importance to the Age of Sigmar crowd. And that would be, drum roll please. Insert drum roll here.
Insert, yeah.
Yeah.
Are you actually going to do it this time? Because you said you'd insert drum rolls before, and then there's nothing.
Yeah, I don't have a drum roll wave. So, I'll get one. Well, I won't put it in, but I'll get one.
Yeah?
Yeah. But anyway, the Realm of Beasts.
It's the year of the goat.
The Realm of Beasts?
Well, it's the Codex Battle Tome.
Beasts of Chaos.
Beasts of Chaos.
The realm is Battletome Gur.
Yeah,
there you go.
Battle Tome Gur. There you go.
Nice.
Oh, that'd be a great.
Yes.
Battletome.
That would be sweet.
I had the.
In fact, that's what a lot of Destruction players have been hoping to get for a very long time. So
This is pretty
now
much it.
that we've gotten Legions in the Gash, which takes a bunch of factions and puts them into
Rolls
one
them
book,
into
but
one.
makes them flavorful in their own ways. And now we're getting Beasts of Chaos, which is taking a whole bunch of different Chaos stuff, rolling it into one book, but giving it a ton of different flavors.
Yeah.
Maybe
Destruction's Day is
up.
coming?
I know.
I'd get your
Destruction's the new death.
hopes up. Ooh. I hope
No way, man. That fungus shaman and that troll are super sweet. There's something coming from
There is
from
stuff
Moon
coming.
Clan.
Yeah.
and especially...
No, I think that we'll see some. I think we were expecting Dark Oath and Moon Clan, and I think that they potentially shuffled things around. Yeah. I still think we're seeing some impact from the production stuff, even though I know I hark on about it, but I do think it's had an impact on the releases and what they maybe wanted to release.
Yeah.
And when.
And also, if you think about the uptick in AOS and 40k players, they had their best year ever. So obviously people are buying more. Potentially didn't expect it. And they didn't expect to have to replace a bunch of old kits or older kits.
Yeah.
As quickly as they need to.
I wonder if that's because when 8th edition 40k dropped, I know we're derailing immediately from Beast of Chaos, but we'll get back to it because it's tasty. But when 8th edition 40k dropped, the rumor is that, obviously they were going to crank out 10 books by the end of the year, and they were going to get all the books updated as fast as they could and everything. But additionally to that, supposedly what was going to happen was every time a book dropped, they were going to get like a new kit or two and maybe a new character just to give a little extra flavor to everything. And that didn't happen with almost anything. I mean, some army, Death Guard obviously got a ton of new stuff. Space Marines got a ton of new stuff. And there's a couple armies that got some new bits, but for the most part, most are, Grey Knights, Astra Militarum.
Tau didn't get anything.
Yeah. So a lot of those armies didn't. I wonder if maybe that's tied into that production, where they initially were like, this is the way we want to do it. And it was like, well, we can't keep up with the models, but screw it. Let's just pump the books out so we get the game itself up to date. and then we can go back.
We can start
and
modernizing.
maybe that's why they're doing, because the talk is that once they get all the books updated, orcs and Gene Stealer cults and some of these other things, that they'll start going to campaigns.
Yeah.
And maybe
that's
when they
probably
start,
what you'll see.
Yeah, like here's some new stuff that's showing up in this new conflict. From Tau have this new battle suit, and orcs have these new cars, or stuff like that.
Well, I think orcs are going to be getting quite a splash release.
Yeah, maybe this is the beginning of them coming out of
the
that
flood. Yeah,
maybe. I don't know. This is all outside speculation.
Yeah, this is with no
So Monday morning quarterbacking
or Saturday evening, since we don't know what the game is.
Being a Lions
That's
fan,
true, yeah.
I have no idea what that.
What?
Being a Lions fan, I have no idea what Monday night
Yeah.
quarterbacking is. So back to Beasts of Chaos. So we got mostly it's just relying on the new on the older kits. 2 model releases for them: the Endless Spells and the Herdstone.
Yep.
The Herdstone looks sweet until someone points out that it looks like a penguin, and then that's all you can see. A
It really is the
chaotic
truth.
penguin.
It does.
How long
doesn't
until
it?
somebody paints it like that?
A week?
Hours.
Oh, yeah. Just prime it white, splash it black, couple of eyes and a beak, boom.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but
Fair enough. Hey,
it's
well,
a Zinchian Herdstone.
Yeah.
The rules for that are pretty cool.
Yeah, they are.
I think it's definitely going to be a big part of the army. We don't know how it gets deployed yet, but depending on where you can throw it on the battlefield, I feel like it's going to have a big impact. And you've got the Endless Spells, so Giant Flamey Cow, Big Horn, and Magpies? I don't know. I'm trying to think of what's violent from birds. So
I know as soon as I look at them, I'm like, oh, wow, that's what bat swarms could have always been.
Yeah. Raven swarms or something. I don't know what they are, but
Or just
they're
updated.
gorgeous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, 3 new Endless Spells, and then some cool dice that actually look really cool until you realize that they have a skill for the 1 and then a skill for the 6, just slightly different. A beast skill for the 6 and a normal looking skill for the 1.
Yeah.
So
Well, as long as they keep the ones universal, then I don't think it'll be that big of an issue, right?
it's just for ease looking across, right?
Yeah.
Is the problem.
I think they're
you-
good enough.
If you saw that, just showing a picture, across the table, what are you seeing? You're seeing potentially a lot of skulls, and that just leads to confusion. So,
Yep.
Yeah, I can see
but they're cool colors. So
Yeah, it's kind of a neat looking set.
And they got a limited edition book.
they did,
Yes.
which is there was 400 worldwide, and 400 BC Chaos players have ordered it.
So it's sold out.
It's now sold out at the time of recording.
And that's hours from release.
Yep.
Same day.
So,
And then the War Scroll cards,
yay.
Yeah.
the new format ones. So
Nice.
Nice.
decent ones.
I don't know. That gives me hope that the 400 sold out, because I think this is an army that's always kind of held a special place in a lot of people.
Yeah.
And they have not been good in a very, very long time. Beastmen in general have just not been good since like 6th edition fantasy, maybe 7th.
I think they've been overlooked as well. Chaos has so much going on.
Yeah.
They've just been overlooked at times for things. Having said that, yeah, I agree. They've not been top tier or even close to it for a while. So it does roll in a couple of things from Tzeentch, as well as the Monsters of Chaos, Thunderscorn, Warherd, Brayherd. So it brings them all together.
Yep.
Which is kind of cool. And then
Sangors.
Tzangors, or however anybody wants to say it.
Zangus.
Zangus.
Yeah.
There's so many weird sayings. It's like when people say Slanesh or
Slaanesh.
Slanesh. I'm like,
Or Zench.
Zench. Yeah. Oh,
Or Tzeentch.
Tzeentch.
Have you ever heard someone say that?
I love that one.
Tzeentch.
Tzzeentch.
Yeah.
It's like we're drinking a toast. Tzeentch.
Yeah. It's like when Argon helped the hobbits take the ring to
Argon.
yeah. Or Legolas.
Yeah.
Argon and Legolas. Anyway, sorry.
Anyway, yeah. Pronunciation.
Yeah.
Who knew that would annoy me? We've got a couple of reboxes in there. We've got Bulgars, Ogars, the Iron Blaster Scrap Launcher, Ungors, Gors, Chaos Warhounds.
Yeah.
They're being put on circles.
10 in a box.
Yeah, and
instead
there's
of
10 in a
5.
box. Is that new?
Nope, that was the same amount.
Were
Was
they
it?
10?
Okay. I thought they were still 5 in a box.
One thing in there, if you look, the Ogre Iron Blaster and the Grot Scrap Launcher are both destruction models, not chaos models. So that to me is, I'm definitely going to pick me up a Iron Blaster for my Beast Claw.
Yeah, they're not in that book.
Huh? Yeah, they'll be allies.
Okay, cool.
So.
Because you have so many points
ovals.
to spare with that army.
Yeah. Tons.
Yeah.
Tons.
And then one other thing that we forgot to mention, which is they're getting started. Beasts of Chaos.
Oh, boy.
10 Bestigars, 10 Ungars, 1 Great Bray Shaman, and then either a Cygor or a Gorgon for the grand total of $85.
Yeah. That's a good deal.
Steel.
Yep.
Right there.
Yep.
And what did you say earlier? I think you were saying 2 of those boxes is 1,000 points.
Yeah, they did a thing on Rue. I don't know how you say his full name because it's like a bunch of things.
It's complicated.
It's got a lot of vowels in it and consonants just joined up. It's weird. Yeah. He's been doing the community articles this week, and so they threw together some 1,000-point lists. The first one was using the 2 getting started boxes, and that was it. The next one was to do with Warherd, and then the next one was Thunderscorn. So
nice.
It looks like it's going to come together pretty cool. We've not seen everything from it yet, which is, well, some of you may have by the time you listen to this, but it'll be released.
It'll be coming out the day this comes. Well, the Patreons will have it. The
Yeah.
regular listeners won't until Sunday.
Somebody made a really good point of this would be the perfect time to bring that Throg model back.
Oh, yeah.
And add it into this book. It's weird that, because that was a relatively new model that they canned right away when AOS dropped. I don't understand why. I mean, maybe something happened to the
mold
or whatever.
Maybe it ripped up a bunch. When it went across to Finecast, I know there was a bunch of issues with some of the parts
damaging.
Maybe.
Pretty,
that's really unfortunate because it was a sweet kit.
Well, once they release Battletome Troggoths, hopefully there's just a kit in there that you can make it. Yeah.
That would be awesome.
Maybe that's the way Games Workshop gets away from the Forge World stuff. It's just like, oh, the price may be more expensive, but now it's now in plastic.
Yeah.
So you can pay us it.
Yeah.
As if Forge World's a different company.
Our competition. We must crush them. Okay.
I'm just still waiting on that dragon, Forge World.
Oh, yeah.
Get that Forge World.
They keep hinting at it.
They keep on showing it off. It's like, hey, look what we've got in the office. And
Yeah.
I'm like, you know what I would like on my desk?
Yeah.
All the bits in a box.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me never to
You know
build.
what Ryan would love to do is buy that and then sell it for half off to one of us.
That would be awesome.
We'll get to creation.
All right.
Nice.
What else do we got?
That's pretty much it for the pre-orders for this week.
Some books.
Yeah, there's some Black Library books coming out. Most of them are 40K-ish. There is a Age of Sigmar book, but it's a compilation of previous, not a. I don't think it's a new one.
Yep, it's Shadespire, The Mirrored City. So it's, I'm pretty sure, all the short stories.
The Murdered City? Mirrored City.
Yeah, The Mirrored City.
Okay, gotcha.
However, this is great. Let me just read. I don't know. It could be a compilation of all the
I'm pretty sure it would say
stories.
Immediately the books that were in it if it was a compilation.
In that case, it's not. It's a new book by Joshua Reynolds.
Nice.
Also known as probably just Josh Reynolds. And it's a story about people trying to escape Shadespire. An ex-Free Guild soldier. Yeah, they're going up against Chaos. I mean, Josh Reynolds' stuff's normally pretty damn good. So.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, he's got AOS down.
Yeah, he does. He's
solid,
got the feel.
Yeah,
Pretty good.
But other people are there too now. It's not all on.
That's true.
It's not all on him anymore to
more.
kind of forge ahead with it. It feels like the Black Library authors finally have their feet under them and really know what they want to go with this. And we can kind of touch on that as we go into the realm of fire and lore.
Yeah.
You know, the massive changes we've seen.
Yeah.
Well, I think that helps them, right? I think because if you get told, hey, write a book about our toy soldiers, and where is it? Well, it's in this realm. Well, what do we know about this realm? It's on fire.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, and literally anything you can think of can happen here, unless it's IP blocked.
Yeah. Can you write about our toy soldiers, please? That'd be great. Thanks.
Yeah.
Well, and
you have 3
9th
months, and it needs to be X amount of pages. Sweet.
Yeah, go.
Type. It's like,
Whereas now it's like, okay, we've got this place. We've
Yeah.
got established characters right within our lore.
Yeah.
And we now have some lore for you to write in.
Yeah.
Other than it's on fire.
Here's some boundaries. That's really what you need.
That's right.
They're also, I don't know if he's touched on this last time because I didn't listen, but they're putting together the old world stuff from the novels. They're creating omnibuses.
Yeah.
So the dwarf one came out, and then they're doing an elf one as well.
That's cool.
So, yeah, those stories are pretty cool. If you want to remiss back to the world that was.
Well, and it's good for people like me who, I wasn't really seriously into it before Sigmar. I'd like to catch up on some of that old lore to find out why some of these people are always talked about.
Spoiler, they're all dead.
Oh, great.
Well, unless they're death or chaos.
No, I don't need to read any of this.
So the death guys didn't come back.
Okay.
They were reforged, to use this Age of Sigmar term, from Nagash. So Manfred, Nephra, and Skeleton,
Archon.
Brown Noser, he remade them when he hit the mortal realms, and they're all just aspects of him.
Really?
That's nice.
Yeah. So they didn't survive, which is good, because Manfred really didn't deserve to survive.
Then why
After
would
what
he
he did.
bring this? Okay.
Because
Because
it's
Nagash
Nagash.
is such a... Why would you bring back the guy that betrayed you? Like, no, maybe I was imagining it all wrong. Maybe I'll give him another shot.
So that you
Just
can
stab me in the back. Which I guess makes sense because he stabs everyone else in the back. He's useless.
Maybe-
Nagash is useless.
Oh, stop.
I mean, he's sweet on the table, but God, the background on that moron is something else.
Well, if he was really good and all powerful, it wouldn't be a very good story now, would it? Nagash won. Yay. Okay. Bummer.
I guess I'm pretty hard on Nagash, but Sigmar's a bit of a chimp too.
Oh, Sigmar's the biggest
Yeah.
chump out there.
I feel like Nagash is really like that middle management style god. he's there.
He's the office god.
I listen to Soul Wars, and
Like he can't really make any decisions, but he can okay your vacation time. Like that's
Well,
pretty much the extent of his
No, it's not even that. It's so I listened to Soul Wars, and it was all about efficiency.
Okay.
Efficiency. So I feel like that is like that middle management person who doesn't quite understand how to manage, but has been told to hit his numbers, and he's like, "We need efficiency. Everything's efficiency. Let's just go."
So he's using
Let's
terms
just
he
go.
doesn't really
Yeah.
understand that
Yeah.
he read in a book that nobody else took the time to.
Yeah, he's like, "Well, back in the world that was, I used efficiency
Oh,
to."
so he's the worst. So yeah, back when I was in your position, I worked way harder with way less. And is he? Oh man.
I learned how to extend my life to godhood. What have you
Yeah.
done recently?
So if Manfred, if you could maybe work Saturday, that'd be great.
Okay. Yeah. Wow, you just made me hate Nagash even more. Wow.
All right.
I mean, we could do this for all the gods, really. at
Yeah,
this
it's
point,
true.
Yeah,
Yeah, they are all a bunch of middle management guys.
Well,
They really are.
or they're different aspects of that middle management.
Yeah.
God, right? You've got Alariel, who's like, yeah, sure, she's trying to be your buddy. She's like, yeah, I'm all hippie, like, yeah, just take time off.
Grunge is the one that just gave up on everything.
Yeah.
Like he's cool, but like he just doesn't care about anything.
He's the
anymore.
hipster god. Yeah.
Yeah. And then like Sigmar is like the real a-hole one.
No, he's the guy who has that evangelical taint to him. He believes. He truly believes. He's not sure what in.
So he's like
He
hardcore
believes.
corporate.
Yeah, he's living the corporate values.
yeah.
Everything he says has like the core values of his company in there.
Yeah.
Oh, like he
He's
can
like-
recite lines from the employee handbook
Yeah.
that
And
he
the
didn't
mission
even know
statement?
existed.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
yeah.
yeah.
If
We're
you're
making
asked
life
what the
better
mission
for you.
statement for Sigmar is,
Yes.
bam, he's got it.
And-
And he has it on a card he can hand to you.
And then-
Reforging
Yeah.
for you?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think you totally could reforge right now. Yeah.
And then Gorka Morka's just that graveyard manager that does whatever he wants.
Oh, yeah.
And like everybody's like, how is that team still here?
Yeah.
Like how have they not been fired yet?
Yeah, that's right.
And then, like, the elves are just like, yeah, I'm just going to backstab you to get this. I'm going to get the promotion. Don't you worry. Hey, Marathi, I know you were here, but we're going to have to demote you now.
yeah.
You're not really a god. but I am now. So
listen, we're just doing this on paper for corporate, okay?
So there's only a finite amount of god spaces, and there's already 3 elves.
We're maxed out.
There's only 2 dwarves, one one
Nice.
human. In fact, there's 4 elves because Tyrion and Teclis took your spot.
Well, one of them's blind, so he gets
Equal opportunities.
he gets to park a little closer. Wait, why is he driving?
We already filled our female god
Quota?
quota with Lariel. You should have woke up earlier.
Yeah.
You
Spending all
missed
that time and somebody's got that. I got to say it was a bad career move.
And then the Chaos Gods are like the board of directors who don't care about anybody below them. They can all get canned.
Pretty much,
They'll just replace the entire floor.
Because they'll just revote themselves into, okay, you're chairman now. Okay, fine.
Yeah, okay.
You're
Just
CFO.
pass it around.
Yeah.
You've just been passing it around.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh,
Passing the
man.
powers. That's great. That's,
We have got
The Mortal
Sigmar
Realms is really
figured out.
is just a big corporate business.
Yes.
Inefficiently run,
Yes.
while millions of just the peons at the bottom die and never
And then you've
get
got
to see.
the great overseer, which is just Games Workshop.
Yeah.
Just to the top of it.
Yeah, at the top of everything.
They're making sweeping decisions. They're like, yep, our KO division, yep, you're going to be moving. We're going to be downsides in that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Down at the bottom there. Sigmar, yep, Sigmar, come on up. Yep.
Yeah.
You've got promise.
Hey, do
Yeah.
your way.
Promise. So
Here's a key to the elevator.
I like the cut of your
Use it,
jib, kid.
Yeah. And Vanda's Hammerhand is that new employee who's so filled with
Oh, yeah. He thinks
just want to be
he's going to climb the
company
corporate
guy.
ladder.
Oh, yeah.
that's
if I
because
just
Sigmar's
work
been
hard.
because he's really the only one that really talks with these common people.
Yeah.
He's like really involved in his team, and he's like, together we can do this. We can do the right thing. But it comes down to you, the power of one. You've got this. And he's like, I got this. There's Archeon. I'm gonna get this.
Yeah.
Vandus, you're good enough.
Where does Archeon
You're strong
fit in
enough.
there? Then
Archeon?
Doggone it, people like you.
Yeah.
I feel like Archeon is just like,
Archeon's the auditor
yeah.
from outside the company. He's the guy that just comes in and goes, my God, you're all screwed up.
So he doesn't have to follow any of the corporate
No.
stuff, but he
No.
can end your career.
But yeah, pretty much. He's like,
Yeah.
these
Paid
guys aren't
by
even
the
producing.
company, but not really part of the company.
Yeah.
And then he's like secretly pissed because he gets none of the benefits.
That's right, yeah.
Because he's a contractor.
I don't get vacation days. Like,
yeah.
for God's sake.
Just sitting in that spire going, I just want to take a vacation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I can't. But I get to listen to you guys complain about.
We've got a 30-minute.
Day
New Dawn has devolved.
Yeah.
854. Still no PTO.
Yep.
He's like a temp. With the constant, they're like, yeah, we're going to get you in here. One day you can become a god. Yep, definitely can become a god. Like that Skaven guy. Well, yeah, he had been here longer.
Yeah,
so calm down.
Yeah.
He didn't take your job. You can totally do that. Yeah, well, I've been a temp for about 3 millennia now. And it's like, yeah, we just don't have the space for the need.
Yeah.
So the Great Horned Rat is like an associate director.
Yeah.
Like it's just a new position they created to cater to him, but he gets no additional
Nothing.
no additional power or anything.
He gets additional responsibility.
Yeah.
He still has to show up to the meetings.
No pay increase or anything. Yeah, he's the one that has to go out of town to the meetings nobody else wants
Nobody
to go
wants
to.
to go to.
Yeah.
Like,
Korn
so,
is like, I am not going back there.
Yeah, no.
Send the rat guy.
Mm-hmm.
like, we need to send someone to Azir. Who's going? Well, I guess
no.
Horned Rat, that'd be you? Just take throw off do a potluck for your rats.
Yeah.
Just do a potluck and get them on board. Get them going in there.
And meanwhile, Scarbrand is the guy who's calling in and going, well, I think I feel okay. I can come in today. No, that's okay. Archeon's here. He's in your spot.
Yeah.
We don't need you here today. You get better. Okay, get
Scarbrand's
better.
on like long-term disability.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, I had that one work claim. We're still going through it right now.
Workman's comp.
Yeah. We're one of the directors punched me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I took a
Drawn-out
really
legal
bad
battle.
fall after that.
Yeah.
And, still going through the claim. All right. Anyway, that's for the last thing in New Dawn. I'm going to derail this crap now.
Oh, wait a minute, there's more?
There was one more item, and that's... I'm not going to make it a rant or a rave. I'm just going to ask the question, because I guess I don't understand the updates.
No, this was a rant earlier.
It
when
was.
We heard it off air. So.
Yeah, but I don't want to rant on air. So.
Okay.
Wrath and Glory, the 40K role-playing game that I was evidently dumb enough to pre-order. thinking I would actually get my stuff, before the rest of the world.
The way
did.
pre-orders.
Was there any benefit to pre-ordering?
Did
Did you get like a fancy thing to keep in shrink wrap?
You do. Well, yeah, the whole thing stays in shrink wrap, but I don't know cost-wise if it comes out better. It just looked like a cooler deal. Evidently, if you went to Gen Con, you could have bought Wrath and Glory. Yeah. They had it for sale. Meanwhile, all of us who pre-ordered it are being told, yeah, we'll get to you around October, maybe November-ish. Because we're shipping from Europe.
So you're saying they went full Mantic?
Yeah.
Nobody ever goes full Mantic.
They went full Mantic. Because they're also saying that right after the pre-orders are fulfilled, we're going to go to retail with it. Well, if you were selling it at Gen Con, newsflash, you already went retail.
Yeah.
But if they do like, anybody else is going to do, the first pre-order that ships out the door means, hey, let's get retail going. Pretty much it's going to be in stores before I ever see a copy of it. And I'm just like, what is this?
I'm not going to try and find a copy just so I can take a picture with it.
You should.
Before you get it.
Well, buy two so I can have one. Because I'm pretty sure it's going to be after Christmas. There's, we're shipping from, Germany, so it might take 6 to 8 weeks. And I'm like, just so I can get it at my local game store before I get my pre-order? Yeah, okay, great.
Everybody knows you never go full Mantic.
Yeah, they didn't. So
hey, their new stuff looked okay. I think Mantic are going to come.
Whoa. We'll spend 30 minutes comparing Nagash to middle management, but we are not going to discuss Mantic. Okay.
Sorry.
Get that out of here. Anyways.
They are the punchline of any joke.
All right.
So that's it. We're done with New Dawn. And Ryan feels.
Anything else you want to add over there, Ryan?
I'm just going to go and text Nagash. He said he would take care of this.
I think we have a situation on the 8th floor.
Yeah. It's like the old Nagash model is shown up in the Mantic line.
Yeah. It's Clown Nagash.
Man, they're really coming along over there, aren't they? Leaps and bounds in their technology.
You betcha.
It's a golden age of miniatures for them. They've discovered plastic. It's harsh.
We are all so acerbic today. Oh my God.
Oh, you mean you can use this stuff not for just storing leftovers in? You can make models out of it too?
What?
They've had lead bins for the longest time.
Yeah. Anyways. All right.
Silence.
New Dawn's over. So now we'll move on to the realm of creation, where we're going to talk about the stuff, and I'm going to wax on about some just the tip things. So I know, Ryan, you've got some stuff. You want to go first or second?
I can go first. Mine's pretty quick.
Okay.
So I cleared out a bunch of stuff. Got a lot of orcs, specifically Ironjaws.
Yay!
And spent the last 2 weeks putting together over 100 orcs in fairly different stages. Some bone splitters in there as well, just because I had them sitting on my shelf and was like, okay, let's go. Let's build them. Surprisingly easy models to put together. The mold lines weren't too bad on anything. It's just time consuming when you're putting together like 50 plus black orcs.
Yeah.
Getting that monotonous, okay, this one E.
Yeah.
10 E, okay, making 10 E, okay, 10 B, going through that, and then making all the banners and things like that. I went with one of each of the banner per 10.
Yeah.
A champ, drummer. The champ will obviously, there'll only be one when I put them as big units, but it gives me the option to do
small units,
10s or 30s. So I only need 30 more of them to get them up to, so that I have options. So that's my goal with this army, is just to have options rather than what I've done in the past where I've
built a list.
Just built 2,000 points.
Yeah.
So I took Elric's advice and I'm going to build just a collection. I think I've got 12 Gore Grunters, so I need probably another 6 of them. I've got 20 Brutes.
20 of those.
Yeah, probably. I think they'll be a little bit further down the line. For grabbing them. I have 7 War Chanters because they come in every getting started box. 2 Maw Crushes, so I need a third one. And then a single Alapex just randomly in there that I built. Okay. It was fun. Really fun kit to put together. But I've just been on building. I figure if I build everything, get primed, then it's a lot easier just to sit down when I've got a spare half hour just to sit and put base coats on. So that's where I'm at.
Sweet.
So that's my creation. Grey miniatures.
Yay.
Yeah.
It's a start.
Yeah.
So.
Do you have an idea for the paint scheme you want to use?
At the moment, not too sure. No, not really. I mean, I think I'm going to paint the skin of the orcs first on a couple of them. Probably one of each of the types. Maybe even just use those war channas as a test plot.
Yeah.
I found my style is very gritty and semi-realistic for orcs. So it'll be, what do I do? And I've not got a tournament. I've not got a set deadline for this, so I can take my time painting them. Problem that'll be is actually if I start painting 4 or 5 of them to really high standard, and then I've got to paint 50 more
to
that standard, could kill me. But I think if I mix them all together, should be okay. Yeah, no, I just don't know. I don't know what goes well with green. That's not
orange.
Red. Yeah, orange.
Yeah, orange.
I hear orange. I think maybe like a pink with sort of a bluey color, because I want to step out of my comfort zone.
Stick it on scale.
So,
sorry.
Yeah.
So that yellow goes surprisingly well with them.
Oh yeah.
I have seen a bone armor type. There's a paint scheme in the Energized book that uses that.
Yeah, that one's
looks
gorgeous.
really good. I would stay away from like really vibrant steel and silvers and stuff like that. Yeah, there's quite a few.
Oh, and I think that's one of the great things, but also one of the bad things, right? Is there's so many options that you can go, even if you go from the book. And to be honest, I haven't seen too many of the bright yellow ones, around either.
Yellow is the color that scares just about everybody.
Yeah.
Well, it's a pain. But if you're taking your time, you're going through it. I did see some beautiful ones on Facebook today, actually, where someone had done, you're going to laugh because it was orange and blue.
Okay.
But the blue was the main color.
Yeah. With
just a dull orange accents. So I think I'm going to try battle damage and stuff like that on these guys as well. Because, orcs are supposed to be in there in the fight. They're not really caring whether or not the armor looks all shiny.
They're not going to be shining up every day.
Yeah.
But you could do orange and black, like the size of the Emperor style, which might look pretty cool. Those two colors go really well together. It's whether or not the addition of green would mess up.
The thing is with the green, though, is you can change it from so many different tones. They can be really bright, almost like goblin green. They could be real, real dark with some blues or purples in there to change all the hints of red even to offset the green. So, I mean, that's a great... You could totally go into left field and start doing them with, like, black skin, like the old black orcs used to be, or the Lord of the Rings style orcs tend to be. So...
Yeah, at the moment I'm looking at that Elysian green color, so the little bit of more natural...
Yeah.
Or what I foresee a natural for a fantasy beast being.
Yeah. What would a natural orc look like? An organic orc.
Yeah. I really like the idea of making them paler, where, naturally things would be a bit paler. Yeah. So when I look at my whiter than white arm, yes, I'm super white, but one side is a creamy color and the other one's translucent. So doing that, being greens, maybe.
That's because you work indoors.
It's because I'm ginger and I can't work outdoors.
He will burst into flame.
Yeah. Bill, what do you have?
So, as the opposite of you, what I wanted to do was finish up the Night Haunt from the Soul Wars box, building them. And then I wanted to challenge myself to not try to paint crazy hours on each model. And I limited myself to an hour on a group of 5. Not counting wash drying time. So I kind of followed along the sort of GW method with the Hexwraith Flame and the Night Haunt Gloom, whatever it is, and all that stuff. I think they came out pretty passable, actually. I did my own thing for the metal, because I don't like the way they just do that single, metal wash highlight. That always looks trash. So I did my rusted metal on them. And actually, I think they came out pretty good. And I actually, by the time I was finishing putting the base, the Sterling Battlemire on each base, I had hit an hour. Now I still have to dry brush the base and put some snow on it for that chilly effect, that Death would have. paint the edges of the base, but I think it's going to end up being maybe an hour and 10 for 5. So it's a hell of a lot better than I normally do, where I sit there and sweat over a group for days. This, I just cranked them out as quick as I could. And I think they look passable.
Yeah, I think they definitely, they're definitely tabletop.
Yeah. And that's really, these are chain rasps. These are not, it's not Lady Olinda sitting out there. Right. She's going to get a little more effort and time. But for these guys, yeah, they'll do it. So that was my actual hobby. So now for just the tip. Dum, 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 dum.
You said you had multiple just tips.
I do. Well, kind of because I'm folding the asset drop. I got the new August asset drop box in this week, and it's actually a really cool one because Andy is announcing that he's starting a new box in addition to the 3 boxes he already has. He's going to have a new box that's called Baseworks. And so in this August box, he threw some of the stuff that might be in a future Baseworks box into this one. So there's quite a lot of stuff in this one. You get 3 different Dark Star paints from their Molten Metals line. You get aged copper, and polished copper. And if you're somebody like me who does copper Necrons, this is really cool. And then there's 2 cans or 2 pots of Instar. First, there's a heavy brown wash and a heavy black wash. So those are kind of actually really cool. Then from Hataka Hobby, they have an ocean gray and a gray blue. And I'm not going to try to pronounce the French part of that because I'm not doing it. It's just not my way. It's a neat Polish company, and their thing is when they make their colors, they actually get their color swatches from the actual military equipment itself. So they will go back through these different museums and places and some active militaries to get paint chips from the actual vehicles that they can then reproduce so that their colors are super accurate.
Just going around with one of those color finders.
Yeah.
From Home Depot. They're like, yep, that. No, actually, well, they've got...
They got the
GW paint app.
Painting
like,
app.
what color's that? And they're like, rust gray.
Okay.
They're like, that's nothing like that. But okay, cool.
All right, good. Yeah. That's kind of what I had in my head, too. I was like, how are they doing that?
Well, it's much better than them thinking that they're going around all these museums going, is anybody looking?
Yeah.
Nope.
Chip off the paint.
Okay, got it.
Got it. In the basing department, they have from a company called Serious Play. It's a UK basing company. Inside here was a jug of their well water effect, their dark mossy field flock, and some of their cork variety packs, which has different... it's just cork ground up into different sizes so that you can have nice little rock outcroppings and what have you on there. This last box I thought was a really great value. This was really good. Good article on painting copper on your stuff using the paints from here. And what I liked was they actually use a Necron model. So there's somebody out there besides me that does copper Necrons.
I gotta say, I think you really lose sight of what is capable and what is done in the hobby when you just look primarily at GW stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Because, even though you see, even if you go on Twitter or Facebook and look at other people, not just the heavy metal team and stuff, paint, Games Workshop stuff, it's still, the effects still kind of come across the same. I mean, there's some people that try to do more hyper-realistic stuff. Like I know Frank does much grittier, realistic type stuff, but the models themselves, I think, are still going to translate those styles and colors a certain way.
Yeah.
And when you look at this other stuff like that, the stuff that you're talking about in these asset drop boxes combined with historicals, it just makes you realize there's just so much more that can be done with these paints and washes and materials and things like that.
Well, I even think if you look at other fantasy ranges, Arena Rex, you could paint like an Arena Rex model and a Tzeentch Arcanite in the exact same way. But I think the model lends itself. It's a bit more refined. It's not as heroic. It's,
that's true. Because you could say you could paint Akkadian army using the same techniques you'd paint like a Flames of War army.
Yeah.
But the model, because of that heroic scale and stuff, it's just not going to translate the same.
Yeah, it doesn't work.
Right. I think that's kind of what you're.
Yeah. When you go different scales, you go different levels of detail. Right. Your Akkadian is also designed to have 100 of them on the board.
Yeah.
If you have a Fantasy Soldier X from another company that's made for single figure, it's going to be a lot more detailed.
Yeah.
There's going to be finer detail in there. And don't get me wrong, GW's models are great, but I think when it comes to painting and trying to challenge yourself at times, or seeing that other side of things, looking outside of GW is sometimes a great idea to see what's possible.
Well, it's, you go to any of these conventions and you look in the model competition area and you see models from everywhere, and some of the best painted stuff by far is not the GW models. It's the busts that are made, from these really small companies that just do resin busts, and they're supremely detailed busts. And then these amazing painters take it to the next level, but you also see a lot of that Infinity stuff really lends itself to a certain style of painting that when it's done well by a good painter, it is crazy good looking and it catches the eye.
Yeah, well, I remember Johnny Hastings from Point Hammer talking about when he first started painting some of the Infinity stuff. It was just so difficult to paint and make look good.
Yeah.
But I think that because he's a phenomenal painter for GW stuff, and I think he had to kind of like adopt his painting style to a new line of minis. And to touch on the bust thing, Chuck Moore put up that.
Yeah.
It was like a female goblin bust or whatever it is. Chuck paints well, but I don't think he would consider himself like a top tier painter, but that bust that he did looks fantastic.
Yeah.
It was all over Facebook and Twitter. If you haven't seen it, you should, look him.
Definitely check it out.
Yeah. Definitely. I think that also, there's a couple of other things in play. One, the miniatures we buy are for a game, right?
Right.
So they're designed for a game. They're designed to be played with in a game, which I think in itself brings its own limitations to how much detail you want to put on there. The busts and stuff like that, it's just that I also think that things even like Infinity models, where they're a little bit more spindly, they're a little bit more harder to put together. The people who are figure painters, the people who are going to competitions, your Vince's, other people that I've completely blanked on, those figure painters, they're used to spending a bunch of time prepping a model.
Oh, sure.
They're prepping their model. They're making sure that it's smooth, that it goes together. There's no seams. They're scrubbing it. They're washing their model. They're doing all the things that I don't do with GW models at times. And then they're spending 12
hours,
15 weeks, a year painting the model. Even if they're quick, they're still dedicated just to that one model. Yeah. And they know they don't have another 55 of them to paint.
Yeah.
It's really easy to get passionate about a model, and if you only have one, I think, to paint. But then other people, that's maybe not the case. Other people are like, I've got 50 of these, great. Mm-hmm. Let's go. Let's make them look good together.
Right.
I think there is definitely a difference between single figure and army painters.
Yes.
And I think you see that sometimes even with GW in itself.
Yeah, they have two different studios. You have the army painters and you have the heavy metal team. The army painter guys aren't going to do the box art, the box photos. That's for heavy metal.
No, I feel like the Tooth and Claw ones were.
Might have been. Yeah, maybe.
I do. I don't think they were painted like how I've seen heavy metal miniatures painted. And it's not necessarily a bad thing. No. I think they look good as a force, and they look good there. Now, I could be completely wrong with that and giving people a disservice, but I really thought the models, the pictures on the GW side, the models on the box, looked like they were done by the army painters and looked pretty good.
Well, they mentioned not too long ago on one of the...
I am wrong.
Build and paint things.
I am, because what's his name? One of the... No, it was one... I think it was Aiden. Put up a picture on Twitter of the character from it. So I might not be 100% wrong, but
they were actually mentioning how they were going to have more of the army painter stuff, army painting team stuff in the electronic media areas because they want to make it more approachable. They don't want people to look at the heavy metal paint team doing whatever and saying this is what it should look like on the table. If you're new to the hobby and all you've ever seen is the White Dwarf stuff where it's like, oh my God, that can be very disheartening when you sit down to paint your first model and it doesn't look quite like that even after following Duncan's video.
Yeah, I think there's a fine line between displaying your product on the front cover and going, hey, here's how good it could look.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you've got Timmy, who comes along, and he's painted his first model and then compares it to the box and goes, damn. And he could, Timmy could be a really good painter for his first time.
Sure.
He's got everything neat. He's got everything in the right place. And it probably looks a really good tabletop model. Excuse me.
You all right over there?
Yeah, with burps for the burp god.
Stu getting to you?
Yeah. That's like cornbread. No, I shouldn't have had it. But yeah, no, I think if you can show them that here's what the army painters do.
Yeah.
The people that are painting those thousands of models a year.
Just like you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then they can compare it to that and go, actually, I'm pretty decent. Mm-hmm. But if I work a little bit harder, practice, I can maybe get up to that next level.
That's right. And, it's important for people to set achievable goals with their painting. You're not going to be that golden demon guy. The third model you put out is not, well, it might be, I don't know, you might be that guy. But,
if you're not there by the fourth model, then you just need to give up.
Just give up. Get out of the hobby.
You can maybe do a fifth model, but,
at that point,
I don't know.
At that point, you're probably just going for crystal brush, and if you've not got to achieve that.
Yeah.
What we need to do is invent a time machine so we can go back.
Oh, man.
I want to win a golden demon from around about 1991.
Oh, when you could paint Clown Nagash and just win?
Come across the US, and the standard was like 1985.
Yeah.
It was really weird because for the longest time there was that you saw on the website there was that disconnect of American painting to European painting, and now I think because of the internet, because of all these different crystal brush things like that, I think it's coming much closer.
Oh yeah,
but you could tell sometimes when you looked at a miniature, you're like, oh, that's European. That's and now you've got a third area which was mostly just Gundam stuff and things like that across in the Asian market, which some of the stuff they do is just crazy.
Some of that, oh gosh.
And nuts. When you see it, you're like, wow, I love the passion that comes from that area.
I watched a Gundam video a couple of nights ago. Guy was doing just a couple of panels, and I watched it because he was doing a kind of blue that I really thought was cool and would really work for the Space Marines. And just the amount of work that he put in, it was like, I didn't realize when I started the video that it was like I saw the 5 and I thought it was like 5 minutes. He's just going to go over it real quick. No, it was 5 hours of him just doing layer after layer with the airbrush. Then as soon as he had that done, it was time to seal it. And then he started doing the individual, at a couple of points, he was using a brush. I think it said it was 20-aught. I mean, it looked like it was like 3 or 4 hairs, but that's what he had gotten to when he was putting when he was fading out. And he was actually doing it at the pixel so that when you looked back, his fade was absolutely perfect into the next panel. And I was like, yeah, at that rate, that model's going to take you over a year to make because it's one of those really big Gundams. It stood like 2.5, 3 foot tall. I'm like, great blue, dude. Yeah, I'll just stick with my airbrush.
Well, it's nuts.
It is. Let's wrap up creation. I'll save the rest for next time because we tended to go on a little bit there. We're ready for lore.
Da, da, da.
And that means fire.
So now we're going to move into the realm of lore where...
What's that?
Well, I think it's where we talk about lore, Bill.
Oh, you mean fluff? Oh, okay, gotcha.
Whoa, come on, dude. That's an extreme disservice.
All right.
I used the F word. I'm sorry.
So, let's do some interesting stuff before you have to listen to interviews of Bill being in Nova nobody cares about.
Anyway, we were talking
about
Nova?
Did he go? I haven't listened to the last episode, so I
don't listen to any of the episodes, so I have no clue what's going on.
I know that because if you'd listened to the last episode, you'd be wringing my neck right now. So.
No.
What'd you do this time?
You'll hear it.
Or maybe I won't. Anyways, we are going to delve into Akshi, the realm of fire.
I thought we were doing Hayish.
Ulgu?
Useless.
We're really just building, setting a low bar so that when we're like, so fire, well, it's hot. Definitely hot.
It's hot.
There's a desert. What is it? There is a place called the Magmar Fjords. Okay, we're done. Cool.
Okay, so if you want to get a hold of us.
The fjords are different from the Betrayer Fjords. I'm sure we're doing this. Alex is going to be like, what the hell? We're like, the fjords.
The fjords.
The fjords. It doesn't matter where you're from.
Near me.
I hear they have universal health care there, at least.
Just on the outskirts of the realm.
Yeah, really.
They pay a lot for it.
Yeah, they do. They do. There's no
salt.
freedom there, but sweet healthcare system. Anyways.
And if only Chuck had a blog.
Good stuff. So, we're going to start off with kind of like the background. And so we did the Realm of Beasts last. And for me, the Realm of Beasts is kind of special because the whole Oryx thing. I love my green skins. And that's generally the realm they come from. One of the cool things is that all the races kind of come from all the realms, you know. So there's Oryx in the realm of shadow. There's Dwarden in the realm of light, stuff, whatever.
Yeah.
The realm of fire is where everything started. Yeah. It's where Age of Sigmar started. It's where the Stormcast first came down and battled the Bloodbound.
Hellfire Peninsula.
Yeah. And I think this one is it's been a real treat to read about because when AOS dropped, the background was a little light. Mm. And if you go back and when you read that book, and in kind of like the early Age of Sigmar stuff, they really paint a picture of the mortal realms being literally on the brink of collapse.
Right.
You know, that book makes it feel like the handful of human survivors that are fleeing Korgus Kul are like the last of humans.
The last vestige. Yeah.
And then the Stormcast come down. And I didn't really like that because it made it seem like, do you have the book?
Gates of Azir.
Gates of Azir, that's the one.
That was it.
It made it a little too bleak.
Yeah.
Right? It kind of painted this picture of like, well, what's the point of even trying to reclaim this stuff if there's nobody left? And they've kind of gone back and retconned that a bit. Mm-hmm. And it turns out like, oh no, the realms are like super big and Korgus Kul, while incredibly powerful, only was running like one part of the realm of fire.
Part.
Yeah, and there's actually tons of other stuff out there. And some might say that's kind of like a cheap way to get out of it or whatever, but I actually really like it because it gives so much more flavor to not only the realm of fire, but all the realms.
I think it like peels back the curtain, right? So when we first saw it, it seemed like, okay, yep, it's just this fiery desert. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody dies unless you're Khorne, and then you eat the people that die. But now we're starting to see more and more. I think looking into this, what's great is fire's been touched on a lot. I'm going to call it fire because I can't say the other word. Yep, that word. Even if you look at some of the art showing the realm, you know, we now have a pretty detailed map. It's almost like the old world maps that we used to see. Yeah. But again, this is just a tiny part. And I think now you really see the difference in it's the second edition. We're more established. The lore's starting to get filled in. And it's maybe not so much that the lore was super simplistic, but I just don't think we got to see as much as we do now.
Yeah. Well, I think it's also the Realm of Fire is a great example of just Games Workshop's writing ability over the last few years.
Oh, yeah.
Anyways, like you look at what they've done with the Chaos Gods and how much they've developed them with the release of Age of Sigmar. You know, Khorne is no longer just rage and anger. I mean, he's plenty of that, but they've really fleshed out so many other aspects of him. They've given so much more character to Nurgle instead of just being like this big bucket of pus that walks around. Like, no, he's this jolly grandfather type that actually legitimately cares in his own way about his followers and things like that. And Tzeentch is, you know, he's still like this cold, calculating character as well, but you found in some of the novels and background books, there's like whole orders, militaristic orders dedicated to him, you know, that aren't about magic and knowledge. They're just more about like change and some of the more aspects. They're starting to give more character to them as well, which makes me very excited about Slaanesh to see what, you know, he's not just like some giant pink vibrator.
Yeah.
Well, he's been sleeping, right? So
and regurgitating.
It'll be super interesting once he wakes up. And what is he going to go after? What aspect? You know, we saw
he the most mad at?
Well, so everybody's like, okay, Slaanesh is all about the sex, but it's not.
Right.
It's about excess. And I think...
Well, and perfection and stuff, too. So he appeals to, like, the martial asks of people. And, there's so much more to Slaanesh than...
And that's been the 40k side, right? Is that military perfection. You want to be the most beautiful. You want to be the most deadly with a sword. We've seen it a little bit with Ilariel when she got brought back as a god. She was born and she was all passive, and then she was losing and she got all... And then this time she's in her war aspect because she was born out of blood, literally. Yeah. So what aspect of his character is going to be super focused on to begin with?
I'd imagine he's going to be very hungry, seeing as how he's basically having his stomach pilfered of all the souls he devoured at the end of the old world.
Yeah, so he's going to go after elves.
Yeah, which I think is fine because...
unless he finds a new delight of maybe god beasts.
Ooh.
And he could just go after the god beasts. That'd be kind of cool. I don't think it... Yeah.
Who knows?
But anyway, too ashy.
Yeah,
but
so...
That's why I don't say it.
When you...
A whistle.
When you read, like, just the few pages in the main rulebook about Akshi are really good because it talks about, like, the beginning in the Age of Myth and how you had these empires that were incredibly powerful. One is based all around magic, and it almost looks like a magocracy type of society. The other one is about trading, I believe.
Yeah, Batar is pretty much the beginnings of like the KO almost.
Yeah, they build a giant
city.
fleet that can fly and stuff like that. And the people of Akshi, when you first get introduced to it, at the beginning of Age of Sigmar, they're like these very desperate people that live in a desert that's on fire, and it almost makes you feel like, well, how do people even survive in this stupid place?
And why would
There's no water because apparently it all boils off. There's no vegetation because it all dies because everything's sulfur. And it's like, well, none of this makes sense. No, it turns out like, there are aspects of the Realm of Fire that are like that.
Right.
But the whole place isn't like that. There are, in fact, oceans. There is drinking water here and stuff, but it's in a lot of places it's more valuable than... Yeah.
They may be on fire,
I think it was
they're forests.
Phil Kelly went into on his little video before 2.0 came out. He was talking about how do the realms work now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We never really knew in the first edition how the realms worked. It was briefly, lightly touched on.
Right.
And now we get to know more about how the realms work. He was talking about how it's not just desert. It's not just volcanoes. It's rainforests. It's blistering heat. It's hot all the time, but it's not arid.
There's still places, because it even talks about there's an entire Nurgle army that comes from like a frozen northern area too. So I'd imagine there's still going to be different types of climate as well, but it'll have a Realm of Fire feel to it. And the people here, the whole realm is essentially passion.
Yes.
And wanting to burn out quick and brightly.
Yeah.
And they talk about like younger people look at older people as being useless almost. Yeah. They failed in their ability to burn out quickly and whatnot. But as they get older, they realize, no, that's not the case. These people are actually hardened survivors to be able to make it through this realm for that long, which I think kind of touches on the Realm of Beasts. I think we talked about how there's some similarities there too, because the Realm of Beasts is such a honestly, I think all 7 realms other than Azir are probably going to be incredibly difficult to survive in.
Sure.
And so we'll probably see similar tones throughout all of that, as far as like, if you're old, you're going to be viewed by younger people as weak. But as you get older, you realize, like, no, to survive out here is freaking difficult.
It's like that. It's almost like the Life of a Flame, right? Yeah. That's burns bright, gets in a bunch of fights. Survives them. And then is, what is more dangerous, that molten, sort of bubbling, almost put out flame, or the one that's burning brightest? at that point in time. You know, as you get older in this realm, you're more dangerous.
Yeah.
You know, at any point you could. That's how I envision these people. Is they're tough. They're that scraggly scrapper type body type. You know, that they've had a hard life.
Mm-hmm.
They're probably pretty leathery. You know, that's what I just imagine is a super old leathery guy.
A lot of melanoma.
No melanoma. Where's the sun? There's no sun. Yeah.
Ignax is the sun.
Ignax is just another flame.
Oh,
It's
okay.
fine. You know, when you live in flame, the sun probably holds no melanoma for you. It doesn't really go into melanoma in the realms.
Not so much.
But I just imagine...
Well, it's because all those fjords, you know, they're able to preventative measures.
Free sunscreen. There's just a realm walker with like sunscreen attached to his back.
SPF 200.
Yeah.
But I can just imagine these young guys, you know, coming up and starting a fight. It's almost like a movie scene where this gang walks up and starts giving this old guy trouble. You know, oh, hey there, old guy. And then he just turns around and like martial arts them into the ground. Stumps them out. But
This ain't my first
It's like
rodeo,
that
boy.
scene in the 13th Warrior.
yeah.
Where the guy keeps breaking the shield and then he's like, give up. He's going to beat you. He's like, no, I've got it. And then he just kills him
Yeah.
right away because he has more experience and he knows how to fight the guy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what I imagine from these. And this, you know, not just the warriors, but I think, you know...
Anybody, really. You know. I'd imagine, like, even being a wizard, a powerful wizard in this realm, you've got to prove yourself.
Yeah, you got to be
Survive.
tougher then.
Yeah.
Because every day is a struggle.
Especially the early age.
Yeah.
You know, before Sigmar comes along and starts making his Cs, left, right, and center.
Yeah.
In this place. I think you'd have to either be in one of the two Cs, because the other ones were more barbaric, slipping back and forth.
Yeah.
So I think it's almost a case system here, where if you're born in a certain place, you'll be a little bit better. You'll either be a merchant, but I could see people, you know, magical ability, from what I can still tell, still seems fairly random.
Yeah.
You know, it's not, well, how attuned you are to it seems fairly random. It's not like you can train it.
Yeah.
Straight out of the bat. So I can see maybe some people born in Batar and being like, yeah, I'm a wizard. And they're like, okay, get out.
Yeah.
Or you're like, well, maybe we can sell this stuff. And the wizards are like, no, bye. See you later.
Asperia is the other one.
Yeah.
It's also very visually iconic because the whole bright wizard look from the old world. No, imagine just a whole realm filled with, or like a whole nation, like Asperia, loaded with fire wizards. That would be pretty badass.
Yeah, I mean, they've got this bit of artwork on page 87 of the core book for those reading along at home.
Yeah.
And what is he? You know, that's the thing, is we see this guy who could be a priest, he could be a fire wizard. He could be
a bright wizard.
Or he could just be regular Joe Bloggs. And this is what...
Yeah.
what
This
these
is how
guys
hard
wear.
they are in the realm of fire.
I'm Joe Bag of Donuts, and this is what I look like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
he's trading. He's a trader. So going through the history and stuff, another thing that I really like that's been added is at the beginning, it always seemed to be between Chaos followers and Stormcast.
Yeah.
It was always those two fighting, and then you're kind of sitting there patiently to figure out, well, where the hell does everybody else fit into this big picture and stuff? And they've kind of gone back and added some different things. And in the Realm of Fire, they talk about how, like, this is one of the first, if not the first, appearance of Flesh Eater Court. And there's this whole group, the Isle of Ghouls, where they talk about where generations of inbreeding have taken a terrible toll. And then later on, it turns out, these are the Flesh Eater Court.
Yeah.
And they ally them, or they try to ally themselves with the Stormcast, who come to fight the Bloodbound. And then the Stormcast turn on them because they see them just as more cannibals as well.
Right.
And it creates this huge rift between, the Stormcast and what could have been an ally.
Yeah, but they didn't look much like an ally.
Yeah, well, it's all perception. There's also a greenskin invasion where they have to set an entire part of the continent on fire to prevent the Oryx from coming in and destroying everything.
That's so
So
awesome.
they added them. And then I thought one of the coolest parts was when Corgus Cool is really rocking the continent and taking things over, and it's looking really bleak. he runs into a Bone Splitters tribe, and the Bone Splitters engage in guerrilla warfare with them in order to just to survive and
live.
fight back.
Yeah.
So it's very cool. Obviously you're fighting it's humans fighting humans, and then the humans fighting Stormcast eventually. But there are these other factions that make appearances. They fight, and then on the Chaos side, there's actually, like I was mentioning earlier, a Nurgle invasion that comes from the north, like the hardened, frozen north, and Tzeentch also shows up to fight as well, and that's where our Esperians fall. Is they have to fight on two fronts, one against Tzeentch, where the magic literally starts tearing the realm apart, and then they also have to fight against Khorne, and so they're unable to compete against both. And it doesn't really say that they failed completely. Instead, they flee to an area and like seal themselves off.
Right.
And so I wonder if maybe
I think that's a hook right there.
if we'll touch on them again, and maybe they'll pop back out and be this like super jaded human. Maybe not order.
Yeah.
Or maybe not attached to Sigmar because the whole abandonment thing. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, they started the barbarian tribes, so to speak, not the ones that are coming from the Wizard Sea or the Merchant Sea. They start turning to Sigmar and start calling upon them because even before they really know about them, to help them survive.
Yeah, so this is during the Age of Sigmar. So we had the Age of Myth, where everything was okay in the Realm of Fire. In a lot of places, because a lot of people wanted to fight it first, and then they found ways to like turn it into tournaments and things like that. And then the Age of Chaos, actually, there is a kind of a cool way that the Age of Chaos kicks off, and it's one of the warlords or whatever offers like a huge contest.
It's a contest tournament fight.
Yeah. And all these people send their champions, and his deal is low key to have Corgus Cool as his champion. And after 888 champions are slaughtered, boom, there's a huge explosion, giant chaos rift opens up, and demons pour through, and that's how the Age of Chaos starts.
Yeah, Khorne said, "You guys are my kind of guys."
Yeah,
I like to think, Call was the main protagonist back in 1.0.
Yeah.
For Khorne.
Chaos,
He's bringing the Orb Infernia down. He's doing all this big stuff. He kind of gets sidelined now. He kind of, he's kind of put there and, okay, yeah, you did this, but guess what? We're now expanding where we're looking at. So you did this really cool thing in this one area.
I kind of wonder if in the 2.0 era, if he's not dead, because it's been that indeterminate time, that 150, 200 years,
He was granted
immortality.
Almost immortality.
Well, they actually, that's the last entry on here is the Looming Orb. And he is in charge of a massive demon legion.
Oh, look at him go.
Yeah, because further on in the Age of Sigmar.
Yeah.
That's the name of the game. Should remember that. He only doesn't completely wipe out the Stormcast due to demon.
Right.
And then he just gets mad and goes and takes over Orb Infernia because he's like, screw you guys. But I like to think that he's the champion that took down 888 of the guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
probably.
he took down, or at least 88 of that 800. And he tells people, well, it was 888. Yep. Yeah. That's how many people it was.
You think one of those things opens up for just 80 guys?
Yeah, come on. There's some really cool things in the Age of Myth and then the Age of Chaos. I think one of the cool things that I was reading was when those Flesh Eater Court precursors were mentioned, is the fact that there is actually some undead hunting wizard warriors.
Oh, yeah.
And
no, it's not the Flesh Eater Court. There's a whole island full of necromancers. And they try to make a move, and then they become the laughing stock of the Great Parch. Because they get slapped down so hard. And they get betrayed by that Batar pays out more to the mercenaries, so they turn on them.
Yeah, it's all about money.
Yeah.
These days.
But yeah.
I just thought it was super interesting that, we're mentioning these warrior wizards, and then we have the launch of the Sacrosanct Chamber.
Yeah.
So how many of them came from here?
Yeah.
That's how old the souls are, potentially.
Yeah.
That we're playing around with, that they've been locked up in a chamber for centuries, just waiting for their time to come out.
Yeah.
So
that's another question I have, actually, is another thing from the beginning was it made it sound like the souls that were grabbed for Stormcast were all grabbed relatively at the same time. Sigmar just made a mad grab right as Chaos was coming in. He's like, I'm just going to grab as many of these souls that prove themselves somewhat worthy and do my thing. And now it turns out, no, he's potentially been grabbing them for thousands of years.
Yeah, see, I always got the feeling that it was over a long period of time and he kept them on ice for a long time.
And does that mean that he can continue to grab them now? I wouldn't think so, because he doesn't have Grungni there to...
Well, if you in Soul Wars, they talk about the Anvil of Apotheosis, and there's these towers that the souls actually go into, and that's where they wait to be reforged until they can actually get their moment on the anvil to come back.
So can he get more newer souls? Like if some new champion arises and he's like, oh man, I got it. Well, he's looking at them all like Pokemon and he's just throwing his balls around.
Torgus. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's true.
So, he can pick out new people. And I always got that feeling that he was taking them throughout time, even in the old world times, he was snatching people.
See, I didn't get that vibe at the beginning.
I didn't get the... You see, I read it a bit differently. Was that it doesn't necessarily matter how old the soul is. Right. For like the ones that we hear about, right, are the almost that fresher one where they're like they were just about to take someone down, and then they get called up.
Yeah,
but it's never really identified when that happened.
Yeah.
You have people, for example, going back to Glimsforge, and their face looks like one of the statues, but that was hundreds of years ago. So it wasn't that they were taken, they were freshly made into Stormcast and then put in the cupboard, or were they in these soul silos? It even talks about them, or it heavily hints at Sigmar pulling souls from Malice.
Yeah.
So Malice being the world that was, that still hovers above his ear. Yeah, you see, that's a new bit, right? So we've got shards of Malice all over the mortal realms, but we have the main part of it still smoldering, still sitting there, where he pulled a couple of souls for some of the characters in Souls Wars. And it's hinted at, it's like whenever they're talking about one of the characters, he looks up at Malice.
Yeah.
And then looks back with like sorrow in his eyes.
Yeah.
And, that
and
sort
he
of
wants
thing.
to go, but he knows he can't because only Sigmar's allowed.
Who looks up?
That's what's the guy's name?
Balthus.
Balthus, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, my theory off of that's Balthasar Gelt.
It is.
Right.
Because you later on in the story, they pretty much say it flat out.
Spoilers.
Spoiler alert.
Okay, so the old world, remnants of it, floating above his ear.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Sigmar can hold on to souls indefinitely from pretty much whenever.
Yeah.
This kind of seems to be where we're at.
Or he seeks them out.
Right.
He hears them. So Soul Wars is a great book for anybody that's not read it.
Yeah.
Don't want to read too much for it, but for the way that his soul seeking seems to happen is he hears everybody. He's like Superman. He can hear everybody at all times. Souls crying out to him, asking him for help.
Okay.
But like Superman, he can hone in on individuals.
On a single one when he needs to.
When he needs to, and when he feels like it's a powerful soul, when it sounds a bit different from the masses, he can hear that and he can pluck it.
Okay.
That's what it sounds like.
And then he can pull souls from the old world. Then
it seems like he can. Yeah. Because if you think about it, everybody in the old world died.
Right.
That's a lot.
Give
of
or
souls
take.
I think some of the listeners are already following
Asleep.
where I'm going with this. So.
Oh, I thought they were asleep.
Carl Franz. He could bring Carl Franz back.
Yes.
Okay, there we go. All right, we're good.
But he already did.
Why would you bring back a politician? You've got thousands of them.
Because Carl Franz is more than a politician. Carl Franz is the man.
Okay, we're not getting into this.
He's already been brought back.
This isn't a Warhammer Fantasy Battle podcast. It's a Age of Sigmar podcast. So, Carl who?
Yeah, Carl what?
No. They'll bring him back.
They already did.
I don't think they did.
They did.
That was a soul gifted by Teclis.
Yeah, right. And whose was it?
But maybe that could be the case. So, thinking about plot threads and little snippets here and there, maybe Sigmar can't bring souls from Malice. Maybe Teclis can.
Yeah.
Because they've been researching how to bring the souls back from the belly of Slaanesh. So maybe in his ideas and how to bring that, he was able to bring a couple over from Malice.
Yeah.
I mean, that's super deep there.
Yeah.
And it's probably not, but it's exciting times, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just holding out hope that because Karl Franz could come back. And that's all that matters. Anyway, back
to Ashy.
Ashy!
The Realm of Fire. So what I really found kind of interesting was that these ancient civilizations, these people that have seem to have lived through the Age of Myth, through the Age of Chaos, start to piss off the gods. So they get invaded by the different types of gods from Chaos. There's one that just gets pummeled by Khorne.
Khorne manifests a fist.
Yes.
Punches their floating city down to the ground.
Well, what else?
Yeah.
Which I thought that was kind of cheap. Right?
He's a god. He can do anything.
But the Chaos gods are a little different. Like, if it was Gorka Morka doing it, that's fine.
That would be totally
But the Chaos gods are a little more hands-off. They let their minions do it.
Well, he threw Scarbrand across a realm just for pissing
he's got anger issues.
And they were also mages. There was like the second generation of mages.
And
they were trying to do this. And we found out about this in Firestorm.
Yeah.
The first places. Yeah. They were making a device that I think was like a god killer. Yeah. Almost. Like
They blast apart like an entire...
They make the vast doomsday weapon they call the Prismaticon. They weren't really good at naming things. Yeah. And they're on a big floating island. So they're like, hey, we're safe. Everything down there is pretty crappy. We're good. We've got this giant doomsday weapon. We have a
defense against gods.
And then Khorne's like, you know what? Let's just blow everything up. And then Selfer Zaranax shows up. And I've never heard of this guy, but he is the Hand of Archeon.
Whoops.
Hand of the Everchosen. Pretty much Hand of Archeon. And he begins just raining basically the entire parch and beyond. But because Khorne was so successful with his Super Saiyan punch, he has killed pretty much everybody worthy of fighting. So they have to start spreading out. And that's when we get to the Age of Sigmar, where... Is this the first place that we see?
Yep. This is the very first time that Stormcast landed.
Yep.
It was on the Brimstone Peninsula.
Yep.
Vandus and the boys.
And, they were successful.
Yeah,
pushed Khorne back, took over the peninsula, pushed further, and now they have a significant foothold in the Great Parch.
4 cities.
They've been building cities, capturing realm gates.
Yeah, there seems to be, considering that when you look at the map, you do seem that there's quite a lot of realm gates just in this area. I mean, it shows 4 on the map.
There's even more than that. I got a bunch over here.
Just in this one little area, relatively close to each other. And for me, I'm like, okay, wow, this seems to be a fairly important place. I do love the fact that here we've got, just to move on to cities a little bit, over here, Hammerhal Aquasha. Aquasha.
There's no U in
I mean, if we're just going to add vowels for the hell of it.
And that's the dual city. That's the city that exists both here and in Gyron. So you got to love that one.
Which is actually super important for the Stormcast the Free Cities, because Gyron has a lot of water.
Yeah.
Which is one of the things that they trade here, because it's, believe it, in most of the area, it's hard to find. So I do love this idea that there's just a giant city with one half in one realm, one half in another realm.
So it's like Kansas City.
Yeah.
Part of it's in Missouri, part of it's in Kansas City.
Yeah.
It's like 2 different realms.
Kansas.
Really?
But
yeah.
Yeah, Kansas City exists right in between the 2 states.
Well, America's weird.
It's because Scotland's not big enough to split a city in 2.
The English tried.
Touche, sir. Touche.
Anyway, before we lose all the British listeners, I don't think they tried that hard. God save the Queen.
Now you're saving face.
So we've got some interesting ones on the map. We've got obviously Batar, the floating sea, which is still there, floating above the Great Parch. We have the Vostargi Mont, which is actually now the city of Brimstone is on there, which is one of the vassal keeps of the Fire Slayers. Because this is where we found Grungy as well.
Mm-hmm.
Well, remnants of him.
This is where Sigmar released him, though, and he went and took down a...
Yeah, immediately ran off and died.
Well, he had a Slayer's death, taking on a giant god beast. And then
was that one, Belanax?
No, Salamander.
No. Salamander, that's right, yeah.
Volcatrix,
yeah, takes him down, and that's where the remnants fall down.
Mm-hmm.
The great Salamander mother.
Down.
Yeah.
She's a herd.
Yeah.
That's probably what started the whole thing.
He lifted
the tail.
Said, whoa!
Yeah, he went all, what's the guy from Animal Planet? Steve Irwin. He went all,
Now, guys, this is really dangerous.
Crikey!
Crikey, it's a girl! What's that coming at me chest?
Oh, too soon, Bill. Too soon.
Okay, sorry.
And then you've got Chakrik's Folly, which is where the Skaven are living. The Skaven seem to love chasms.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, they just love putting chasms in here. But this city is so ramshackle, it falls down all the time.
Well, it has constant earthquakes, too.
Yeah.
Which destroy everything. And the Skaven are like, but...
Yeah, no big deal.
The rent's really cheap, so...
Yeah.
And it's right next to the beach.
It's not like
well, if you're also a Skaven, you don't live that long, right? So even if you might live long enough to never see an earthquake, and then it's like, oh, well, the earthquakes aren't actually real, and then the earthquake happens again.
It happens.
Yeah.
Tons of it.
What other places do we have, Bill?
Well, tons. Because I was actually going to start with just some of the bigger realm gates. Of course, everybody knows about the Brimfire Gate. That was the target for Vandus Hammerhand and the original incursion of Stormcast, but that's been closed. So that really, closing that gate was incredibly important to keep Khorne from being able to reinforce this realm easily. So since that was a direct gate, he lost a lot when they lost that. So, of course, once they took that, like we said, they built up Hammerhall, Hallowheart, Tempest Eye, and Anvilgard, the cities of Anvilgard, Tempest Eye, Hallowheart. So they've been building these around there that people have been flocking to. So all those people that we saw in that first story that were the dregs of civilization, at least they had somewhere to go after the Stormcast came in. You know, some of the other realm gates you had were the Bridge of Fire, which once connected Akshi to Shyish, but now it burned with multicolored and sentient flames. Thinking flames.
That sounds like a certain somebody, possibly.
Yeah, it could be. I don't know. Because he seems to show up a lot in here. Then you have the gates below, which are now the super easy to get to Shyish. So, you know.
It's like the expressway, maybe even a toll road.
No, it's no toll. You just go. It's expressway.
Again, it's right next to the fjords. So
yeah. Well, you get a great view out the left.
Yeah.
The right is just so. You also have the God's Eye Realm Gate. That's on the continent of Nugatoria, which I always thought was filled with nougat, but I would just eat my way out of that one. But that one's inside the Orb Infernia, and it's one of those realm gates that connects just two different areas of the realm, so it connects the Ashlands up there to Orb Infernia. The Stormrift Realm Gate, which is one of the other ones that connects Gairan to Akshi. So before Sigmar, this gate was used by the Oryx to get in and out. So you kind of got to love that. Nowadays, there's the city of Sigmar on both sides of the gate. We all know what that means. Hammerhall. You have the Helmog Gate, which is in the Magmaric Sea. That one goes to Shyish. And then the Henge Gate is another one of those that's realm to realm, and it goes from Asphyxia to the Unreachable Mountain. So there's a lot of different ways to get around this realm quickly, as well as to get in and out. And of course, there's hundreds of other little, realm gates that we use on the tabletop. Did you want to hear more about different locations around the realm? Because there's a ton of...
Is there any that are your favorite?
Yes. And it's easy to just reach out to the Brimstone Peninsula and say, well, that's where all the action's happening right now. And you can go to the Great Parch and say, well, that's really cool too. You also got to look at Orb Infernia, which is where Cole went when he decided to do his stuff. And up there, the Orb Infernia, which is kind of like a extra realm on top of the realm of Akshi. You have Zarach, which is an ensorcelled continent ruled by Zirak Mirakin. Guess who that could be? Well, a demon sorcerer of Tzeentch, it might be. So it's not like Akshi doesn't have a lot of magic, which you would not think of when you think Cornland. You'd think no magic. No, there's tons of it around here.
Yeah, I think Nebraska when I'm thinking Cornland.
Isn't the Orb Infernia, though, that one that has all gods on it?
Yeah. And they're all there.
There was that Slam Age priest that was keeping it all at bay.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Cull was like, nope, and killed him. And then now it's just not in check.
Where is this?
It's in Orb Infernia.
Yeah, but where do they talk about?
Realm Gate Wars.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
Realm Gate Wars.
Oh, yeah, I gotta get caught
way
up on
back
some of
when.
this stuff.
Yeah, way back when. It's because and even during the Firestorm, not the Firestorm campaign, but the Season of War, they were pulling that orb closer and closer.
And closer.
To bring it down.
Yeah.
Because that's what they wanted, was to merge.
To put it into
fire so that Chaos would just own the Realm of Fire.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Which was stopped.
Which is what they were also doing in the Realm of Metal.
Yeah.
I was like right on the verge of pulling it into the Realm of
Pulling
Siege.
it into Singe's realm. So one of the cool areas of Orb Infernia that I thought was really cool was Isthus, which is a ruined continent that fell to fragments after the capture of Slaanesh. So there's still Slaaneshi demon princes running around here, especially Sinistra and his followers. And they're the ones I think that if we're going to see a resurgence of Slaanesh, I think they'll play into that because they've been working really, really hard to find him. So
the Seekers.
Yeah, the Seekers.
Seekers have been going all around, and thanks to Marathi, they're finally going to find Slaanesh.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
Thanks, Marathi.
Thank you.
Thanks again. Where Ignax was chained was a big part. Thanks to dwarves, this entire area is not just turned to ash.
Yeah.
There's a cool little story in one of the boxes where someone's telling the story of how they put the rune binding in there and stopped Archeon being able to control a god beast.
Yeah. Which is
and just when they think that he's losing the crowd, turns around and he was like, I was there the day that we did that. And half his face is melted off.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is super cool.
And you can't forget the one other really, I think, big, notable thing. You do have to go to the Hellfire Peninsula, but in that area is where you have the 8 citadels that all protected the Brimfire Gate. And I mean, one of those citadels was actually the captured place of, what's his name? Scarbrand. That's where Archeon and Khorne chained him up and said, yeah, don't let them get through here. Okay. You got this. You got it? You got it. Okay, good.
Who's a good boy?
Yeah. Who's a good boy? So, I mean, there's a ton of incredible locations in the Realm of Fire. And one of the things about Realm of Fire is it's so well documented. It's in so many books that there's just a ton of written stuff in different books talking about different places, like the Orb Infernia. You go through all those first 5 books in version 1, and almost every one of them has a big section dedicated to some part of Akshi.
There was even one part in the Blades of Khorne book that I found in their little timeline history thing, which is actually one that I'm looking at is Into Darkness. So after littering the Realm of Fire with skulls, gore pilgrims, so that really useful battalion from the Iron Horde tribe, passed through a hidden realm gate to Ulgu. Now, they never returned because this book was out before Daughters of Cain.
Yeah.
And nothing returned from Ulgu until
at that time.
At that time. But what is super interesting is whilst they never returned, their shadows from the piles of bones that they put up in their edifices leak blood.
Ooh.
And so for that was super cool reading that, because I never thought that, we've had the Necroquake where we've had, the Dead Rising, and, we've had the endless spells released because of Nagash. Yeah. But before that, we even had this little hint that potentially the different realms could meld a little bit with each other. So they go to the Realm of Shadow, suddenly the shadow of all their totems, their edifices, start leaking the blood.
Yeah.
So I imagine that they just got killed by Daughters of Cain. And
or whoever else is there. There's plenty of other stuff we'll find
there's
out.
Nasty other.
There's Skaven, there's Malarians and Tyre.
Skaven aren't going to kill us. Yeah.
You don't think?
Oh, man. The Realm of Clan Eshin. You imagine what it'd be like trying to take on somebody as nasty as Eshin in their home turf?
Skaven don't exist, Ed.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
They died in the old world. Karl Franz is real. Anyways.
No. That's literally the thing that Skaven do all the time. Is Skaven don't exist. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I love how that carried over into the mortal realms.
Yeah.
Like, they'll believe that beastmen exist, and they'll believe that all these things exist, but you try and tell them that a rat the size of a man exists, and they'll be like, nope.
Yeah.
No.
Zangar with bow, I'm good.
Yeah, 8-foot tall demon made out of pure emotional hatred with a blade that can cut through my soul. Yeah.
Good.
I saw it. I fought one. But
Man-sized rat?
A rat with a rake coming at my face. No.
I don't know if anybody's having that conversation, though. Right? Because your common free guild person isn't surviving that run-in with the demon to make... And if they go back in the night...
To bring the story back.
Okay, so... Johan ran away from the said bloodthirster.
Yeah, right? Bloodthirster.
And he runs back and he's like, hey, this happened. And people are like, yeah, sure.
Sure, they did.
Go, whatever.
Now sit down and have a
right. Well, so is a Stormcast got to fight every battle? No way. There's stories of like free guild fighting. This is why I love the Empire in the old world, man. Could you imagine just being some pissant farmer that's conscripted by some punk ass electric count who's never had to do anything in his life, and now all of a sudden something's kicking off, and you get mustered into this militia, and you go out there, and there's some a-hole with a giant hammer strapped to his back screaming about some god that's never done anything for you, and you've got to get in line. And all of a sudden across the field are these gigantic frickin' demons with soul blades charging at you. And you just got to throw down. You got to throw elbows against that and make it happen. Yeah. And hope that the steam tank doesn't roll a 1 next to you. Yeah. And vaporize half your unit. Like, that's why I've always loved the Empire, man. Is because like that's why those models have gigantic cod pieces.
Well, yeah.
Because
that's not heroic scale. That's 2 scale.
They're overcompensating. Okay.
I don't know. Like, I'm surprised more don't turn to chaos.
Yeah.
In that way. Like,
because it would be way easier.
Because you can see I suppose it's that faith versus being able to see something, right? If you see the bloodthirsters, you see the plague bearers, you see the great and clean one, you see a giant feathered vulture, and then you're like, hey, Sigmar, give me the strength, and they're like, cool,
here's a prosecutor.
You forgot to pay your rent on time, and some witch hunter comes by and shoots you in the head. Yeah, it's kind of like, well,
you accidentally stay up past the curfew, and they're like, cool.
Yeah.
You have that orgy one time, and then boom,
yeah, really.
Like, college must suck.
Yeah, sex with a goat one time.
They don't call me Wainwright.
Yeah.
But
or you got like a wart or something like that.
That's it.
You're born with 11 fingers.
Or you just get a disease, right? That's the thing, is you get a disease, and you're like, you reach out, and you're just like, help, I need help. Please, someone else could be praying for you. Make sure this person gets better. Make sure this person gets better. And who's reaching out there? Not Sigmar. Sigmar's not like, yeah, sure, cool. I'll give him a bit of my thunder power so that you can get through this.
Yeah, Shalia's dead.
Yeah.
So it's not like you're getting any help there.
So then it's Nurgle that's sitting there going, sure,
I'll help you.
I'll help you. And then you wake up the next day and you're feeling better.
Yeah.
You're walking around as you're slowly being corrupted. And then suddenly these Stormcasts come down and wipe you out because you're like, nope, you're tainted. But I just got better.
Yeah. I'm feeling all right.
Yeah.
I think I'll go for a walk.
Yeah.
Any money for the next leper?
Yeah.
Cultist.
So anyway,
it's just interesting.
Yeah,
one last thing I want to say before we take a break, before we get into weapons and all that other good stuff. We talked about Korgus Cole and all that stuff, but got to remember Valkia the Bloody's still around.
Yeah.
She found a house in Asphyxia and moved in. So, and she's looking for champions. She's always been a favorite of mine.
She actually has a really good story. I forget where it actually is, which book it's in. Which
she has her own book, doesn't she? Isn't there a book?
There is a book. Maybe that's what I read, but that was old world
stuff.
Okay. But her fighting, actually, I think it is the old world one. It's still a good read.
Well, I know she rocks the Dark Elves and Naggaroth.
Yeah, just a little.
Yeah. But it's almost like the beginnings of the Bloodbound sort of ideas that you start to see in there, because she's leading this tribe. She she just rockets around everywhere when she's attacking them.
Right.
And yeah, she totally messes with them in a PC sort of way.
Oh, nice.
All right, let's take a quick break, and then we'll start hitting the spells and the
items,
what
and
has you, and all
stuff.
the good stuff. Yeah.
Cool.
Now we're going to jump into the Realmscape features and magic of playing in the realm of Akshi.
But it's going to be hot. Just thought I'd throw that out there. I know how much you like puns.
All right. So the spell that everybody gets is Fireball.
No way.
Classic.
Yeah. Yeah. It is actually a fantastic spell.
Easy to cast on a 5.
Goes off on a 5. Range is 18. If what you're hitting, the enemy you're hitting is 1 model, it suffers 1 mortal wound. If it has 2 to 9 models, it suffers D3 mortal wounds. And if it's 10 or more models, D6 mortal wounds. So
eat that 40 plague.
I feel like this spell should be, just in general.
Yeah.
The bigger the thing you hit,
yeah,
the more
damage
it does. Yeah.
Yeah.
They should use a template, like maybe a.
No,
piece of
no. We're not going back to those.
Sorry.
We should use a template, like a burning head template.
Oh, very
on
nice.
And then we should use dice with arrows on them.
Cool.
Yeah,
That won't cause any problems.
No, not at all. Anyway, so yeah, Fireball seems pretty solid.
Yeah.
I think the best thing that it's used against is single wound infantry.
Yeah.
10 plus, right?
Yep.
Or chipping that last wound. You know, that's what we also like. I think models that Gaunt Summoner count as a single model.
Yep. Oh, with his
Yeah.
That's a good question.
I think he does count as a single model. Well, the Ballista.
Yeah, because I
as well.
don't think the familiars count for game purposes.
Yeah, the Ballista as well, which actually poses all kinds of weird issues. I saw that on a forum post of, okay, so they're a single model, so once you've got them set up, do they have to stay in that formation?
Why does artillery always have to have stupid rules?
Yeah.
I hate that. It's always been an issue.
The 40k deals with it pretty elegantly. They say the war machine is the thing, because the artillery is the thing. You can't charge or attack the wind counters, pretty much.
Yeah.
They're the two people. Boom.
Yeah. What? Just, whatever. Come on.
Anyway, moving on. So the command ability is Firestarter. You can use this command ability at the start of your movement phase. If you do so, pick a terrain feature that is within 12 of a friendly hero and within 3 inches of another friendly unit. Roll a dice on a 4+. That piece of terrain is set alight. If the terrain feature is set alight for the rest of the battle, any unit with models in or on it at the end of their movement phase suffer D3 mortal wounds. In addition, a model cannot see another model if a straight line is drawn from the center of its base to the center of the other model's base, and it passes across the terrain feature.
I think the key there is it's model, not unit. It's model
Right.
takes D3.
Well, and it's also from center of base to center of base,
Yes.
not true line of sight.
Right.
Where if like my finger can see the top of your flag, I can still shoot you.
Right.
Yeah,
So that means
You can. It's
flying
an
creatures.
infinite. It's a better Wildwood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It becomes.
But burning wildwood, that would be nice.
That's all Wildwood should be.
Mhm.
It would be
On
great
fire.
just to set them all on fire, and then they've got the choice, right? I can jump into my Wildwood bit. It's on fire!
Yeah. Finally, Sylvaneth. Feel the pain of being in a
Yeah.
forest.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
it's
like
And
a
I'm
very
bitter
s-
towards Sylvaneth.
Not at
Right?
all.
It's a very small pain compared
Yeah.
to this
what
one.
everybody else deals with.
Yeah, the last Wildwood that I had to run through killed all my Fulminaires as I was running through.
Yeah, that'll happen.
It's a lot of ones.
But just to show you, they are susceptible to mortal wounds.
So I think it's a cool thing. I
Yeah.
think it's thematic. I think it's a little bit situational, with the ranges involved. It's at the start of your movement phase, so you can't even move up.
And it's also
Yeah.
on a 4-up.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you're likely probably not going to do it. But who knows? There could
it's
be
a
really,
command ability. If you have a bunch of points, it
True.
might be worth it to try.
and there could be a clutch piece of terrain on the table that has like an objective in it.
Or a wildwood with a
thinking
bunch of
to,
Kurnoth hunters in it.
Yeah.
You know?
I'm thinking if we think of the Colorado terrain, that giant pyramid that likes to
Oh my god.
It's now on fire, and you can't see over it.
Wow.
Unless it's considered a hill, in which case it's not actually terrain.
No, I think it's terrain. I think you said it's
we ran it as terrain.
Oh,
but,
fair enough.
I mean, 6 of one, half a dozen the other. Anyway, on to the Realmscape features.
Yeah.
So I'll take number 1.
Okay.
No effect.
Oh,
Done.
I should have taken that one. Damn.
Yeah. Number 2, flaming missiles. It improves the rend characteristic of a missile weapon by 1, while the range of the attacking unit to the target unit is more than 12 inches.
Yeah.
Because adjudicators needed the help.
Yeah, that's right. Pew pew.
Yeah. That's pretty nasty.
And Ren 1 arrows is pretty nice.
Or Ren 2.
Just
Ren
Ren
2
2
arrows,
if you
so
have.
yeah.
Yeah.
Or Ren 3 in the case of the
Not
Raptors, the
yeah.
long strikes.
Yeah.
Long strikes.
Yeah, I mean, it just seems pretty cool.
Yeah.
I think it's visually pretty cool. Either they get set on fire or those metal things just start to melt as they go through, just piercing red hot into people.
What about a unit of Free Guild archers or Cunning Ruck?
That'd be super
Actually,
cool.
what about a
Rock.
unit of Dwarven Quarrelers who can shoot twice and have a Rune Lord behind them, increasing their Rend by 1 anyways?
I mean, yeah, but you just take 3 Rune Lords. Oh, you can't do that anymore. Yeah,
No, it doesn't stack.
It
Yeah.
doesn't stack anymore. But
It's a shame.
yeah, that'd be pretty nice.
Yeah.
Ren
See some
3.
pretty
Yeah.
nasty stuff.
Or if you really want to get thematic, Fire Slayers, using the one ability that doubles the range of their throwing axis for a turn.
Oh, that's super cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, normally these are just like Nerf guns,
All of a
but
sudden,
suddenly,
All of a
and
sudden,
then the next turn they could do it again, except use the Rend 1 rune. So you get two
two
turns
double
of
Rens.
of rending
God,
throwing
that's
axis.
sick.
That's pretty cool.
Not bad. Not bad.
not bad.
Number 3, Bill, you want to jump in on that?
This is the cloud of smoke and steam. A model cannot see another model if a straight line drawn from the center of its base to the center of the other model base passes across a terrain feature other than open ground and or hills. So it kind of makes all terrain into smoky wildwoods.
Yeah.
So this could really cut down the pew pew that
Quite
you
a
would.
bit, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, that was my no pew pew.
Yeah.
No
No
pew
pew pew.
I think if you needed to have line of sight for charging, this would be more of a thing. But it also cuts down on spells. Some spells need
True.
line of sight.
It also makes some artillery pieces that much better that don't need line of sight.
The ones that don't need
Yeah.
line of sight
Yeah.
are not affected. So yeah, I mean this affects charging. This affects everything.
Bust out your rock lavas, your rocket batteries.
Next.
Every step a league, or as I like to call it, New Mexico on a good day. If a run roll is a 6+ or a charge roll is a 10+, then you can either say that the unit will not run or charge after all, or you can move the unit but it suffers D3 mortal wounds immediately after the move is completed.
Now, this is important because it doesn't say an unmodified roll.
Right.
So if you have bonuses to your charge or run rolls, like, I don't know, Iron Jaws can get,
Gabriel.
stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Then you might be...
Kind of really hurts
wounds.
the night haunt units because you get the 10+, you get the free fight. So you're like, well, I'm sorry, I'm going.
Yeah, but you get saves against mortal wounds. Your
That's
stuff
true.
comes back.
That's
You'd be all right.
You'd be all right. You'd be good.
Take that one on
D3
the
mortal
chin.
wounds isn't doing much. When
Number 5, Burning Skies. In the movement phase, if an enemy unit can fly and moves more than 6 inches, roll a die. On a 4+, the enemy unit suffers 1 mortal wound. On a 6+, it suffers D3 mortal wounds instead.
Ouch.
So, yeah, that's it's pretty interesting, considering there's like armies out there that are nothing but flyers, like Night Haunt.
and
Yeah.
super quick
Yeah,
as well.
Mhm.
That's the other thing is, I think, these help with the alpha strikes,
Yeah.
things like that,
Yeah.
things coming down, going super far, super fast.
It almost seems like in actually they want you to get up close and personal. They
Yeah.
want you in melee, not flinging stuff around.
I don't know. Number 2, the additional rend if you're more
Well,
than 12
that's
inches.
true.
That's
That's a huge.
pretty heinous.
But then that, again, pushes you to get close.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everything. And now in 2.0, you start normally 18 inches away. So it's get
Yeah.
more than 6 unless it's New Mexico. And then it's, you don't want to go more than 6
Yeah.
to get in. But
Well, depending on what you are. I mean, there's some stuff out there. If you got like 40, if you got a unit of 40 skeletons,
you
you
don't
3
care.
mortal wounds don't, whatever. I'll eat that. to get the charge, turn 1 charge.
If you've got your hero jumping in.
Yeah,
He's
you're
like,
you're 4 wound Banshee or something like that. It's like,
well, even like a Lord Celestin on a Dracoff, right? You
only have 7
don't
wounds.
want to take, because there's always that chance, right, that you take 3 wins and you're like, dang, okay.
Or a lot of heroes on big monsters, or just big monsters in general. Sometimes 3 wounds is enough to knock you down to the next bracket.
Yeah.
So
that could be bad.
Yeah. And the last one there?
Ooh, Geysers of Burning Blood.
Boiling Blood.
We stole this directly from Princess Bride. This is at the start of each of hero phases, so this is going to go twice a turn. Roll a die. On a 6+, a geyser explodes. If it does so, you have to pick a point on the battlefield, roll a die for each unit within 6 inches of that point. On a 4-up, that unit suffers D3. On a 6-up, D6 mortal wounds.
Ouch.
So it's pretty equal opportunity, and it's pretty nasty. So
it's like a Dracoth Breath plus.
Yeah.
Which is kind of cool. Again, it's just the cinematic of that is super cool.
Yeah.
That does make you think of the giant, desert.
Yeah.
Where suddenly there's just huge
explosions of fire coming up.
Yeah. Makes it seem like a really dangerous place to fight in. For sure.
Just think about living there, day to day. Well, I was coming home from the store with the milk and the bread, and, I just burned my leg off.
Well, I was running home because it was late for a meeting. And
ran a little too fast.
Yep, and now I'm burning.
So
it's just chafing. Really?
You think insurance companies cover your house burning down anymore? Or they're just like, screw that.
In this realm?
They're like, it's an act of God. Which God pick?
Name one.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess if insurance companies are still willing to cover houses with flooding and hurricane coverage that are in like Florida to this day, then
I just imagine though, there's like get the insurance agents going door to door, right? And they're like, well, we'll give you like coverage for fire up to 1,000 gold. But we'll also cover you for flooding.
Yeah.
Up to 1 million.
Yeah.
Yeah. 1 million for flooding here in Ashy. As long as you're not in Hammerhall. And
that's only 2 shillings a month.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
All right. Let's jump into the spells of Akshi. These are really good. I really like these for the most part. So I'll start it off with Stoke Rage. Do we want to go through each one, or do we want to pick our favorites?
I think we can. I think with these we can go through it. I think the artifacts and things like that are a bit weaker in my eyes, but we can go through our favorites on those.
All right. Well,
it also depends which. I think the spells really depend on the army that you're working with, whether or not they seem really good or just good.
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah, because I don't think any of these are bad.
No.
None of these are duds, but some of them are really strong.
Really, really cool.
The first 2 here are some of my favorites because I've always, damage spells are cool, whatever, but buff spells, I think, are what win you games.
Oh, yeah.
If you have access to that kind of stuff. Something that can buff an entire unit is just such a force multiplier. And so this first one, Stoke Rage, has a casting value of 6. Pick a friendly unit within 12 inches of the caster that is visible to them. Add 1 to the wound rolls and charge rolls for that unit until your next hero phase.
Yeah, so if we actually think we're fighting in Ashy here, so we don't want that +1 to charge.
Potentially. I mean, that's if you roll that ability every step a league and turn it into New Mexico, as you were saying.
But that's the thing, right? Is if you're playing on that one, and even if you're only 3 inches away and you get the +1, you're like, great, I'm not going to fail. But then you roll a 5.
Yeah.
And you're suddenly 6+, and you get D3 more wins. But the +1 to wind on anything is, unless it's 2+ to wind, you're laughing.
Yeah, it's so good. Mm-hmm. And if you're one of those armies that manage to make it through a lot of the 2.0 conversions to unmodified rolls, there's still a little bit of stuff out there, I think, that will trigger on a 6+, so now it would go on a 5+. And just, a 16% increase to your wound output is always going to be
always good.
Well, and even the things that maybe hit a bit easier but wound worse, suddenly in fire, they're just way better than their counterpart that has a worse wound but a worse hit but a better wound.
Yeah.
Roll.
So like hammers to swords in a lot of instances. Yeah. So yeah, I really like that spell. It's very strong. The next one, if one of you guys wants to cover this, is also equally bananas.
Inferno Blades?
Infernal Blades is probably the best spell
You think?
in this
Yeah. I would.
this list.
I think in general, I would have to agree.
For mainly for any army, because so to explain what it does, casting value is 6, pick a friendly unit within 12, add 1 damage.
Yep.
To their melee weapon. It's just a force multiplier. You know, you were already getting that wound. It's now 2.
Well, and it's to a characteristic of melee weapons used by that unit. So if you are a cavalry or something like that, so that's the rider and the mount.
Yep.
You know,
it doesn't
that's,
say that it doesn't affect
if you're a Maw Crusher or something like that, where you have like 4 or 5 attack profiles.
If you have some, but even, you know, things where you've got a high rend, but only 1 wound.
Yeah.
Or you've got
1 damage.
1 damage. Or you've got a chance to a lot of attacks, but they're 1 rend, 1 damage. You know, just that extra, you know, doubling your damage is just great.
Yeah.
You know, it really is.
Or on things like a lot of cavalry units that improve their stats when they make a charge. It just makes them that much better.
Yep.
And you can even get, you know, it's until your next hero phase as well. So you get it for your turn, your opponent's turn, and potentially your opponent's turn again. Mm-hmm. So I really like the spells that last until your hero phase. Yeah. Just because it keeps them going.
Yep.
Really strong. So
next one's a loser.
You want to cover it first?
Sure. Fiery Blast, casting value of 7. If successfully cast, pick a point in the battlefield within 18 inches. Roll a die for each unit within 3 inches of that point. On a 4-up, it suffers D3 mortal wounds. So you have to roll to cast.
Yeah.
Then you have to roll a die for each unit on a 4+ to get D3 mortal wounds.
I think it's good. I think it's basically an 18-inch fire or lightning breath. From,
Dracoth's breath.
Yeah, if you roll hot.
Well, it's the exact same thing as because the Dracoth breath is a 4-up for everybody within.
Yeah.
But
again, like depends. You say, I'd rather buff a unit with one of the first 2 spells.
But you could have multiple wizards each taking a spell.
I think this would come into play where you've got an army, maybe a death army, who was all huddled around that spell portal before it got FAQ'd, right?
Yeah, or maybe Daughters of Cain, where the unit's staying kind of close to a witch hag. Tag the daughters, tag the witch hag.
Kill the witch, or take damage off the witch hag.
Yeah.
So that your shooting can burn them.
Did you say burn the witch?
Burn the witch.
Burn the witch.
Hag.
I just don't like any spell where you have to roll to cast and then roll to do any effect that it might have. It's just decreasing utility.
I think the force multipliers of the other ones are better, but that also means those units have to be in combat. Inferno Blades is to the melee weapons, but Stoke Rage is just add 1 to the wound roll, so that also affects shooting.
Yep.
Which is pretty strong. So the next spell is Glare of Volcatrix. Has a casting value of 8, which is a little high depending on the army.
That's odd.
Pick an enemy unit within 9 inches of this caster that is visible to them. Roll a die. If the result is higher than the unit's wounds characteristic, a model from that unit is slain. So this is pretty situational. Well, you know, stuff like this has always kind of been around, but, you know, you roll a 6 on a unit of Dracoths, all of a sudden, boom, one incredibly powerful model is gone.
Mm-hmm.
I noted this down as new person catch. So someone's put out 40 marauders in a line across the battlefield to stop someone alpha striking or jumping in. You start 18 inches away. So, you know, you let them go first to move forward a little bit. You target one right in the middle of the unit, and then suddenly half the unit's dead.
Yeah, but you don't get to pick the model. It is removed.
Yeah, it just is
a model from that unit is slain.
Okay,
yeah.
Well, let me score that out then. Yeah, that's rubbish. I don't like it.
It's not rubbish. It's situational, and it's probably the weakest spell in here.
Yeah.
But if you target a unit of like brutes, you know, 50% of the time you're going to kill a brute, and because of the garbage bravery characteristic, that also is like another 30% chance or something that another one will run away per guy you kill. Yeah. You know, and they're not that hard to get rid of. So. Little things like this can help.
I don't know. I just look at it and then look at even Fiery Blast and go, it's easier to cast. Or Fireball.
Yeah.
Sure.
And go,
Yeah,
okay.
Standard spell.
Yeah. If I'm shooting those brutes, they get D3. I mean, I might not kill, but it's still easier to cast. I know I'm probably going to get it off. And since I don't get to pick the model, yeah, it just seems like there's... Yeah, I agree, there's better
it could
choices.
be good for those.
It's the weakest.
It is.
I think.
But it could be good against like the weak support heroes.
Oh, even strong
You know.
Stormcast. A lot of the Stormcast heroes are 5 wounds.
Yeah. You have some also 4 wound heroes out there. And
Yeah.
hell, Mushroom Boy, he goes away on a... What's his wounds? 4, I think?
4 or 5.
4 with a
Yeah.
5 up save.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, situational.
Yeah.
Mushroom.
Yeah. So, next one, Parch.
Dun, 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 dun. Has a casting value of 6. If successfully cast, pick an enemy unit within 18 inches of caster. That unit must have its move characteristic until your next hero phase. In addition, roll a die each time that unit completes a charge move until your next hero phase. On a 5-up, it's D3 mortal wound. Take that, Thunder Tusk.
Yeah, it's
Take
pretty.
that.
I think it's pretty good. You know.
Yeah. Bray Herd.
I was thinking of
All
Maw
of you.
Crushers when I was reading this, and I just wrote Maw Crusher no likey. Because you slam in, you do your destructive blow,
Yeah.
you charge again, you've got 33% chance rolls of taking D3 mortal wounds.
Yeah.
Well, even on things, just almost anything in an Ironjaw's army, having its move value is
hurts.
rough because
Yeah.
they don't move that quick to begin with, unless they're taking something like an Iron Fist formation, and that can be pretty difficult to deal with.
Well, you look at the Beast, the new Beast book. Everything that can run in charge, this just goes up and slaps them in the face.
Yeah, it definitely.
Yeah, they have to run to get their normal
Yeah.
movement.
Right.
Almost. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they get the chance of taking wounds for it.
Anything that can stop your opponent from doing what they want to do is good.
Well, and in most, I'd say the biggest one is if you can stop your opponent from moving. Anytime you can affect the movement in a tabletop game, it is probably one of the strongest things you could do.
Well, again, you put that on a monster, you've got a chance that it's going to drop down when it charges into you. Like, the guy's like, okay, going to charge it in. She's going to do great. She's going to maul you.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Now we've dropped down. Now it's a bit more dicey.
Yeah. My zombie dragon at full health is a little bit different than at the next tier down.
Mm-hmm.
So,
And the last one,
Incandescent Form.
yeah.
Has a casting value of 6, and if successfully cast, -1 from, or subtract 1 from hit rolls for attacks that target the caster until your next hero phase. This is baller.
yeah. So I immediately started thinking Vampire Lord on Zombie Dragon, cast a spell on yourself, and then I think there's another
Then
item
you
in one of them.
Do your own.
Neferata,
Yeah.
Yeah.
the fungoid cave shaman,
Yeah,
-3 to hit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's next
You
to a
could basically
unit.
make them impossible to hit.
Yeah. I mean, it's get a hero on a objective, and then good luck.
Yeah. Tanking
It's
with
really
your
good.
wizards.
Really cheap.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. Or hell,
It's only a casting value of 6.
any wizard can pick these spells, right? If you
Right.
choose. So could Archeon cast this on himself if you pick this spell?
But Archeon wants you to hit him.
Yeah.
So he can bounce things back.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. But anybody else, you're...
He'd probably want to cast Infernal Blades on himself anyways, because he has a bajillion attacks that aren't particularly good
That aren't.
quality.
does,
Super
and
powerful.
also if he gets to 6+ to wound,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, is actually what he wants. He wants
So you want Stoke Rage.
Stoke Rage. You Stoke Rage him.
Yeah, that's right.
You
both.
put him in a Zinch army with Stoke Range, and
Mhm.
he's, or even a Corn army, and he could be insta killing things on 3+, 2+,
Oh, my goodness.
potentially.
Potentially.
Anyway, that's potentials. Now we're going to move to
Artifact.
the artifacts and weapons, which
Yay.
I think we're just going to do our favorite and our worst, and we're probably going to choose the same favorites and maybe the same worst.
Yeah, these, I don't know. I'm not really impressed with most of this stuff, but there's a couple in here that are okay.
Okay, who wants to go first from weapons? What's your favorite?
I'm not really sure I like any of them. The Onyx Blade gives you the +1 to wound rolls.
Which mixed with the if you're fighting an Ashi,
Yeah.
you could have +2 to wound.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, or you could take the Magma Forge Blade, or if you do a wound roll of 6+, you inflict a mortal wound on top of your normal damage. So that with Stoke Rage, chip off an extra mortal wound potentially here and there for every wound roll of a 5-up.
Yeah, and again, I was kind of thinking in a Khorne army because that's who I actually associate with the Realm of Fire.
Yeah.
So you add a couple of prayers on there, and suddenly you're doing mortal wounds.
Or Fire Slayers. They have the ability to reroll wounds and stuff like that too. So throw a Magma Forged Blade on a Grimwrath Berserker. He's charging in, doing a bunch of D3 wounds on top of a couple extra mortal wounds. Yeah. And then when he kills stuff, he can attack again or whatever. I can't remember exactly his rules, but I know he can go ham.
Yeah.
And then there's a couple little things in here that give you some ranged attacks.
Yeah,
that don't count as ranged attacks.
Yeah.
I think my favorite I picked was the Ruby Ring. A little bit of nostalgia there, but also it's mortal wounds every turn.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the closest unit.
But it has a maximum range of 18 inches.
Yeah.
So you can reach out and touch someone.
You can touch someone where maybe you weren't able to before. And mortal wounds is mortal wounds.
That's right.
At the end of the day.
But if you want to make a Stormcast guy cry, you take number 6, the Exile Torch. So at the start of the combat phase, you pick a hero within 3. On a 6+, the hero suffers a mortal wound and he cannot fight or be attacked.
Until the end of the turn.
Right, until the end of the turn. So that means he doesn't get to bounce his wounds back on you and all that other shenaniganry that he loves to do.
He's not...
The Star Drake?
Well, yeah, he can't be chosen. Right. So actually, it's super weird because it could protect the hero as well as...
It does protect him.
Yeah.
But you also aren't forced to attack him because it says he may not fight or be chosen as the target until the end of the turn. So that means he doesn't fight this round. So if he's walked up and said, I'm just going to reflect all these wounds back on you because I'm buffed for that, you can turn that off.
Yeah.
But again, super situational. I wouldn't take it. Wouldn't be my first choice, but it would be the one to make him cry.
It's if you've taken enough battalions and none of your artifacts are good.
Yeah.
But I feel like that for all the weapons. And my worst one that I picked, or my least favorite, was number 3, Magmadroth Blood Vials. In your shooting phase, you can pick an enemy unit within 8 inches of the bearer. On a 4+, it suffers a mortal wound.
Yeah.
For me, I was like, well, unless you can move more than 10, why not just go with the number 1?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I suppose you do get to choose who it is, or just the closest.
A number 4 is even better because it hits multiple units. It's on a 5-up as opposed to a 4-up, but it hits every enemy unit within 9 inches.
So it's a longer range as well.
Yeah.
So.
They can't all be winners. There's like 100 freaking items in here. So some are going to slip through.
Some are going to be whatever.
So artifacts, I'm going to start with my least favorite.
Okay.
So we end on a high. Number 1. So once per battle, firstly. So it's the essence of Volcatrix. You may drink the essence of Volcatrix. If you do so, roll a die. On a 1, you take D3 mortal wounds. On a 2+, you add 1 to hit and win roll. So it's like the Battle Brew.
Yeah. This is really good.
But it's once per game.
Yeah.
It's once per game.
You don't like that?
No.
Yeah.
I think it's really strong.
Because it's once per game.
Sure.
Yeah. It's once per game, and it potentially just messes you up.
Potentially.
Yeah.
With that attitude. That's why you just don't roll a 1. Have you tried not doing
Most
that?
of my dice are from Randy, and they're already...
I knew we had to get one in there.
Get it in there.
Wouldn't be a show without Randy.
Let's just get in there.
Like I told Randy's mother, we got to get it in there.
And she was like, is it in yet?
Randy.
I just don't like things that are once per battle.
I get that.
I'm spending stuff, and there is some things...
But it is to hit and to wound rolls until your next hero phase. I think there's other stuff on here that's not nearly as good.
Yeah, probably them 5.
Yeah, because it's the Holy Within and it's a fairly short range.
Yeah, and it's just add 1 bravery.
Yeah.
That's, I mean...
The only thing there you're doing is negating Night Haunt or, negating some... Yeah, that one just...
You're either negating a scream or you think you're going to lose.
Yeah, exactly.
And with that attitude, you will be Randy.
You will be.
So, okay, then what's your favorite?
Oh, I know
My
this
favorite, number 2.
one. What?
Okay, yeah.
The Thermal Rider
smoking.
Cloak.
Really?
Add 4 and fly.
Yeah,
So
super strong.
adding 4 inches to anything.
Say it. Say it.
Is surplus to requirements. But the fly...
Oh, it's getting late.
Yeah.
So
Anyway, so 4 inches to movement in a game where movement is key.
Yeah.
Is always great. But
Number 4 is the best one.
It's the ability to fly that changes it.
That can be a double-edged sword, right? There's, in theory, somebody could not understand the game whatsoever and bring Barrack Zilfin and get bonuses to shoot you out.
You could. But
So somebody could play Randy's KO.
Yeah.
when playing Randy,
Like I said, somebody who knows nothing about the game.
Oh, God, we are so wrong.
yeah, but I think, it provides a foot option to do something really cool.
Yeah, well, no, I was going to
the
pick
fly
the Thermal
rin-
Rider Cloak, too.
Is
my
potentially
favorite.
back.
You're both
Because you
wrong.
can put it on something like a foot boss for Iron Jaws, and all of a sudden his movement's doubled. And it means he can finally keep up with the rest of the damn army, which is huge.
You can do that. You can put... you could put on your Maw Crusher just to get uber movement.
That's true.
He already flies.
That's true.
Mhm.
Flying Stonehorn.
Yeah, that does sound tasty.
Okay. Okay.
Because
Just combat heroes. You can make your Dracoth fly and go super fast.
Oh, yeah. I think it'd bump him up to, a 12 movement?
Yeah.
Is he 8 base?
Yeah, he's 8 base, so 12-inch movement with fly. He's basically the dragon at that point with less
And in
wind.
some ways scarier. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
To something that's already super quick, like the Slanesh stuff, Demon Prince.
Yeah.
Oh,
Something
yeah.
you're-
A greater demon of Slanesh.
Yep.
Yeah. You're
Now suddenly has fly and moves 16 inches or something like that.
That could be
Holy
ugly.
cow.
it's a surgical throwaway potentially, but
Mhm.
it's still something that's super quick. Can go out and grab that objective. You throw it on a Frostheart Phoenix, they're going 20 inches a turn. Plus run.
You could put it on a the horned rat, the big horned rat model.
The Vermin Lord.
Yeah, you could put it on a Vermin Lord. They could
Can
skitter
you
leap
imagine
around, just makes it
skitter
that
leaping?
much.
Yeah.
Cast a spell, move where you want, and then move again.
Jesus.
Yeah.
I
And
could
you
get
know.
sick. I like the Ignex's Scales number 4 though.
Yeah, that's
if you have to
definitely
save the
follow-up.
guy on a 4+ negate.
As an Iron Jaws player, I miss having a 4-up against mortal wounds available to me.
Yeah. I like that one.
I just wish it was both types of win.
I know. It just
Well,
being
that'd
mortal
be
wound
super strong though.
is It does. I think you're right. 2 is better, but I liked 4.
But I mean,
Ignex's
4's
Scales.
50% chance of getting rid of mortal wounds, right?
Mhm.
Mortal wounds are mortal wounds.
Mhm.
There's something that are in the game that you have to try and avoid.
And some armies can really dish them out, so
Mhm.
it just makes
Yeah.
you 50% stronger.
The ones that get even better with it are the ones where you have a natural save against all damage anyway, or any wounds anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, so like any death character,
Any death characters,
Any Nurgle.
Nurgle characters,
Fire Slayers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh no. Most of the Fire Slayers don't get hair saves. It's the troops that
it's
do.
the troops.
Yeah.
But yeah, things that. But then you make your guy into a troop. Guy,
Yeah, that's
you
true.
know?
Yeah. Yeah. All of a sudden, a banner dude that's allowing your whole army to reroll wounds, having a 4-up against mortal wounds.
Now he's not going to get sniped out
Yeah.
by that.
Stormcast. They like it.
Yeah, because their regular armor save is bananas, but if you can find a way to slap some mortal wounds on them, and now all of a sudden 50% of that is just shrugged off.
Sylvaneth, we know how
Susceptible they are to mortal wounds.
Yeah, so if they can negate it in any
Well, I
way,
think they'd still be susceptible.
yeah. It's only one model. I mean,
Yeah, because of Durthu with a 4-up against them. Oh, that's tasty.
anyway, we're so salty.
A little.
But yeah, no, I think being able to fly, being able to move,
Yeah.
mortal wound negation.
Oh,
I just
Bloodthirster with 4-up.
Oh, jeez.
Save against mortal wounds.
Wow.
What's up?
Bloodthirster in the Council of Blood Still see with Archeon.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
So we'll talk about that off here.
Okay.
Because I've got a question for you guys that I don't really want to divulge.
Oh.
Because we haven't done that at all this show.
It's a Nova question for the Nova person.
You don't want that then. Not on this show.
No. We're Nova out.
We've made it this long not talking about Nova. I think we can do it some more. No, I'm just kidding.
We're going to.
So again, I think we went on super long with Realm of Fire. It is a big realm. I think
we're probably the second most fleshed out after Death.
Yeah. So we're going to try and go through big realm, small realm, big realm, small realm.
Yeah.
Some of the smaller realms.
We might gang up together.
Put together.
Yeah.
Light and Shadow.
Yeah, pretty much.
I think those are the two.
But we're going to go over them. Again, if you want to hear more in depth than anything else, let us know. If you disagree with our choices of the
spells and weapons and
then let us know.
Tell us why we're dumb.
Or tell us what other things you really enjoy about the Realm of Fire.
Yeah.
Little snippets that you've picked up in all the other books.
Yeah, because in that lore part, I mean, there's volumes of information out there that we had to get rid of because we could spend the next 3 hours talking just about the lore of the realm.
Oh, yeah.
So,
yeah.
And then one last thing, which I forgot to mention the last time we did a realm, was if you have an army that's set in the realm and you have some cool pictures, throw them up on our Facebook page or on Twitter.
Yeah.
I'd love to see where the creativity is going now that we have this ability to say our armies from this realm. And I don't know if anybody's doing it. I'm sure there are.
I tried.
Yeah,
tried to make a Death Army. Yeah. It was awesome. I got a lot of positive reinforcement from my gaming group that made me feel good about myself.
If I still have that picture after I break my phone, I will put that up on the Facebook page so you can see the wonders of flame.
Yeah.
The flaming wonder that is Elric Skeleton.
I am so not going to say anything.
I'm glad I got out of bed this morning.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
No, but seriously, throw your stuff up there. Give us a bit of where in the Realm of Fire, or even Gur, since we missed it last time.
Yeah.
Where is your army from? Show us a picture, even if it's just one model.
Can't be worse than mine.
Like, it really can.
Yeah, no, it really can't.
Unless you're a 3-year-old.
I hate you so much.
Wow.
Which
this is why I don't hobby.
Doesn't have a paintbrush and his finger paint. Then maybe it will. But guess what? You will be a 3-year-old.
Yeah.
You won't have a paintbrush, but you do have access to Twitter
somehow
and Facebook.
So, all right. God.
All right. So we're going to follow this up.
Flailing here.
We're going to follow this up with a few interviews, and we will see you in 2 weeks.
Yeah. With the realm of... Ooh, what's next?
It's not decided yet.
All right.
Okay, so now through the magic of the internet, we are joined by Aaron Bostian. And Aaron was the chief herder of cats and basically the head lead event organizer for the Age of Sigmar stuff out there at the Nova Open. So, Brian, thanks for coming on with us today. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks, Bill.
You just called him Brian.
That's fine. You're not.
You introduced him as Aaron, and then right as he started, you called him Brian.
And you guys think that was a mistake.
Oh.
But it's not.
Fair enough. Okay.
Because he got it.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, inside jokes.
Yeah.
When I was
inside jokes are the best, Bill.
I
didn't prep you for it. You're right. But when I was interviewing Brian, I called him Aaron. So I figured it was only fair.
Fair enough. Okay.
Well,
anyway.
and during the event, I had a lot of players coming up to me and calling me Brian.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, we kind of, we don't really look anything alike, but just the fact that, we were kind of co-running the event, and we were both there, and we were both handing out coins and relic cards and, prompting players to talk about the narrative of their army. So we kind of became two different,
two sides of the same realm.
Yeah,
coin?
two sides of the same person. Yeah.
So since we're on that track, tell us a little bit about how your team came up with the idea for the narrative out there at Nova, because it was pretty amazing. I know I've gushed about it in the last episode, and I'll continue to do it.
So I want to go back a little bit to basically 2015 ran our first AOS event, like 2 months after that July 4th drop. And we basically had 6 players. One of those players was with my wife. And we just kind of had fun for 2 days at Nova and played some games. And that was early days where we were using wounds to track how many models were in an army and everything. And then, of course, the Tomb Kings player dominated every game because he just kept summoning Tomb Scorpions and archers. But anyway, after that, I was really inspired by what Stephen Herner was doing. And I wanted to do something along the lines of, what we come to know now as like the narrative event where, the different games are linked together kind of in a more campaign style. And players are on teams rather than and having a spirit of cooperation and not just that tournament bracket trying to climb to the top of the heap. So 2016 was kind of something that we broke away, or we built it around the GT that we had 30 players in 2016. Of course, the General's Handbook had come out a few months before that in the summer. And we had a lot of players come back or become interested because of the match play points that were basically reintroduced to the game. And then 2017, I got pretty ambitious because I wanted to run 12 games over the course of 4 days and 4 nights by myself, and then also helping Brian Prue with the doubles event in the GT that was 5 rounds. So that was insane. And by the end of Nova Open 2017, as I was, packing up terrain and trying to get the hall cleaned up on Sunday night, moments before the award ceremony, and Brian Prue getting on an airplane and giving me the salute and handing me the list of winners from the GT and saying, good luck. Basically, I had several players that had played in the narrative, and we had 14, 15 players that had played in a couple of those events. We mostly did Triumph and Treachery multiplayer games. We had, a lot of fun with those at night. And one night we went to 1 o'clock in the morning playing a big game with 8 players around 2 tables that were linked together. It started with Brian Orban, asking me if he can help put away terrain. As we're doing that, working together, he said, so what does it take to join the team to develop the narrative for 2018? And I said, well, you're pre-qualified since you're actually helping me put away terrain. Yeah. Matt Tucker had been actually a really big help during 2017, just because there was one event I had 16 players, and he kind of just didn't play for a round just to help me kind of explain the Path to Glory Army comp system to newer players and everything. So he got involved, and Ben Marshall got involved. He really wanted to run with the story idea. And over the course of the couple weeks after Nova, when everybody was feeling really energized from the experience that 4 days of the convention and really wanting to say what next, because there's a strange lull after a convention where, especially the final weeks leading up to it, there's just kind of feels like so many tasks that aren't quite done. And it's a lot of running around and hurrying up. And then you're kind of worried that, people aren't going to like the event and they're going to complain. And then the elevators in the hotel don't work well, and it gets hot. When all of that is over, there's kind of just this vacancy. And, suddenly there's free time and no stress, and you're like, all right, well, let's start thinking about doing it again. So anyway, I was fortunate that I had several people that basically told me they really wanted to get involved, and that really made a big difference, because at kind of the end of 2017, I was like, you know what, I bit off more than I can chew. Next year, we're just going to do a doubles event in a GT and maybe a Thursday afternoon Triumph and Treachery game, but I'm not doing this again. But next thing I know, I had 6 other people, wanting to get involved. And I think about 2 weeks after Nova, 2 or 3 weeks, we had a Skype call or a WhatsApp call. I don't remember exactly what it was. And that's when we started talking about, we were all ready to climb on board and see what we could do for 2018. That's how it started.
That's pretty cool. You can't beat that, getting all those guys together. And I mean, it pretty much showed the whole team there was pretty much on point the whole The whole weekend, I mean, I couldn't find any fault with anything that was going on. But then again, I had big wide eyes too. There I was in a big city for the first time. One of the things, that always interests me is we're 2 weeks after the event now, and you've had a chance to breathe and think and sort of mull over what happened. Is there anything that you would have changed from how you had it organized this year? I'm not saying, play this scenario first and not that one. But I mean, anything structure-wise you would have done different?
We had talked, we'd kind of gone back and forth between how structured we wanted the event to be as opposed to how kind of open and creative. Brian and I both have some background playing D&D and some other role-playing games, and we kind of both had the same perspective that the players need to be part of the experience, and not just passive actors in this grand campaign that's dreamed up by this novelist game master. And in recent years, for me, I've had some really awesome role-playing game experiences that really invited players to work kind of as collaborators with the game master and really create the story. In fact, not until a couple of years ago, in recent years, did I start playing what they call like GM-less games, where there is no GM. It's a role-playing game, and basically everybody takes turns to add elements to the narrative and add elements to different characters. And I really like the freedom and the potential of players getting really creative. And I've felt really passionate about trying to bring some of that to other tabletop games. There's a lot of potential in a game system like Age of Sigmar. And I think that part of it is just giving players permission to kind of think a little bit outside the box. And so we really wanted to provide some guidelines, but at the same time, make those lines dashed so that that when players wanted to reach outside of it, they could. Last year, 2017, I had this thing I was calling indulgences. And there were these little scrolls that I tied up with ribbon, and I was providing those as a representative of the Shadow Bank because we were playing in Ulgu, and players were gaining coins, metal coins that they could use to bribe other players and buy upgrades for the characters. They could also give them to me as the Shadow Bank rep to purchase these special scrolls that would provide things like bringing a unit back onto that had been eliminated from the game back on, things like that, moving a stone horn to another table to help an ally that was floundering in another game, those kind of things. And the players really responded to that and really enjoyed just kind of like I think there's that fear that people are going to worry about lack of balance, and really in narrative events, their balance is just kind of thrown out the window. It's all about, riding the ship as it lists to one side, and then it starts to go the other way, and you figure out a way to rebalance it. So anyway, long story short, we wanted to keep things open. We wanted to be flexible. We ended up setting up a printer. Yeah. So we made some modifications to battle plans and some endless spells, and then printed those up. So we had, a lot of the war scrolls for the sky ships and the champions we had pretty much down because we'd been working on those as a team for many, many months. But there were some things that we kind of decided to modify and change pretty late in the game. And a lot of that was inspired by decisions that players made. And also, we had players that came up to us. There was a group of players that actually had kind of splintered off from one of the main factions and wanted to make their own faction. And then they wanted to follow through with this crazy idea where they were going to do this ritual and try to, bring down this god beast or drive it away. And Brian and I kind of met off to the side and we're like, all right, this sounds kind of cool. Let's go ahead and fit it into the narrative. So, because we had decided, how is this going to end? Do we want to have it where this side wins and then this is the result, or this side went? And we just decided to kind of keep it open, and we'd run with it kind of GM style. So
yeah, I kind of love the way that all worked out, and the way Paul did take that fifth guild, if you will, off on their own little merry path was a little strange, but I thought that was really kind of a cool touch. And is that kind of also why you went with 4 guilds rather than the 4 grand alliances?
Right. Well, when I ran Coalescence in my local area back in, I guess, 2017. So yeah, June 23rd, or June 10th, 2017. I had like 16 players, and like 9 of them were chaos, and one of them was death. The whole Coalescence thing had been like, there's, the 4 grand alliances, and it just seemed so out of whack. And basically, I had asked a couple of the chaos players if they would consider. I was just a couple of Nurgle players that I talked into allying with the death player, and it actually worked out pretty well. So yeah, what we wanted to do was have a series of factions that were a little bit more flexible, so that we could actually have Stormcast fighting side by side with a Nurgle army. And I know it seems kind of crazy, but Ben actually did a great job at kind of creating this setting for Dawnland to explain how there were some magical properties that kind of created a pocket reality or pocket dimension in Olgu, where a lot of the general forces that are common in the mortal realms were kind of suspended, and people could like live in harmony. And
yeah,
his story about the Nurgle in the Stormcast, after hours, after working as watchmen for the city, we're hanging out in the tavern and buying each other rounds of beer and playing poker. So yeah, we wanted to kind of make it flexible. So I was inspired a lot by the narrative for 40K that's been going on at Nova Open, and I think they're like their 5th or 6th year. And basically, they kind of totally withdrew from the 40K setting, and they have two main forces. They have like the Earth human alliance, and then the alien invader force. Right. I've heard some people say that they don't like that so much because it's not based firmly in 40K.
Right.
But then other people like the fact that that they can have different factions that wouldn't normally work together on the same team. So I tried to kind of compromise on those two things, and the whole thing with Dawnland was, it was kind of like this little obscure corner of Olgu that nobody really cared too much about, and so we could kind of have our own sandbox to play in. And really, when I decided to set it in Olgu, early 2016, like there was a single paragraph written about that realm, and there was no stories set there or anything. So it kind of felt like we kind of had carte blanche to fill in all the details we wanted.
Yeah, it made sense too, because I like the way it was a little pocket to where we could be our own thing, and we didn't have to worry about what was going on around us. So that was kind of fun.
Yeah, and then we completely destroyed it.
Well, a little.
With no, widespread consequences beyond it. Yeah.
Well, we don't know what's coming next year unless you want to give us a hint. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Here's your chance.
It's funny because I've got the reputation for starting a lot of little group and new endeavors.
You? Aaron?
So,
no.
But I told the team, I said, hey, before we start planning for next year, what we want to do is kind of wrap up this year. We want to tie it in a bow and have something that we can point to, so that, in 4 or 5 months, when people are saying, hey, I'm interested in this narrative thing at Nova, but what I want to know a little bit more about what it is and what I can expect, then we can point to the blog posts and things that we wrote up after this year's event, and hopefully that will give people a better idea. We still, I still run into people that are not really sure what to expect at a narrative event, and especially players that have only attended kind of store tournament style events. They're just not sure what they're getting into, and I joke sometimes that could be as scary as going to a LARP for somebody who's only played tabletop D&D.
Yeah.
And they just kind of want to know what they're getting into.
Yeah.
So we're just trying to put that catalog of documentation together so we have something to point to. So we may even do a call later tonight, but I think that's going to be more just bouncing ideas around and everything else. We we also, Nova Open does player surveys. So we kind of want to see what responses we get back from that, what kind of feedback we get from that, which is anonymous. So people may be more willing to really speak their mind. We also got a lot of feedback directly from players after the event, and kind of, everybody's in the same boat. They go home and take some time to reacquaint themselves with their families and everything, and then they can kind of reflect.
Yeah, I know that's what I did ever since I've been sitting around going, how cool that was. Now it's setting into me about, it wasn't that good. I'm kidding.
The smoke screen we have to maintain for Elric, so he's not jealous that he didn't make it, right?
That's true. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, it
how terrible.
Sounded pretty lame to me. I don't know.
So before we have to go and separate, is there anything else you want to tell us about Nova Open this year, or perhaps events for next year, or anything?
Well, Nova Open is a great convention. This was the 9th year. It's been growing in attendance quite a bit. I think we're basically doubled from where we were in 2016.
Nice.
So we had like 3,000 attendees this year. The hotel and convention space was pretty much at capacity. I remember 2 years ago, I think there was a knitting convention with a lot of older ladies that were giving some of the players in the elevators some strange looks when they see these grown men, rolling a tool cart into the elevator with a bunch of tiny Space Marines on it and a case of beer. So, but yeah, it's a great event. The organization raises a lot of money for some great charities, and it's volunteer run. Everybody involved has it can be a lot of work, but it's really satisfying in the end. And there's a variety of games too. It's not just 40K and Age of Sigmar. There's a really thriving Hobbit, Lord of the Rings scene. I think they actually had like 70 players in their GT, and then they also had narrative events too. So X-Wing, all the Fantasy Flight games. Yeah, it's a great tabletop gaming convention in the DC area.
Yes, it is. All right. Well, cool. I thank you, Aaron, and I'm going to let you go now, and we're going to let you go now. I'm sorry. Trying to sound like I'm the only one that's important here. Oh, wait. But I also have the interview that we recorded while I was on site, so that'll give us a little perspective of what you were going through while you were in the moment, too. So,
and hopefully I didn't drone on quite as much in that interview as well. But I do have to say, hey, again, it's all about the players, and I think Brian Orban, when he was on, really said all the high points. Again, when you have engaged players show up at the event and they're ready to get involved and take control, it was like on cruise control. I mean, we were just there kind of as a support staff and kind of helping people consider possibilities and have great games.
And tell a great story,
and I think we achieved that. Yeah, exactly.
Sweet.
All right, thank you.
No, thank you, Aaron. Really appreciate it. You take care and have a good rest of your evening, and thank you for taking the time.
Stormcaster, cool.
So now I'm here with Sam Butler, and he's from Games and Gears. If you've ever heard of them, they make an amazing line of really transportable brushes and brush care products. So, Sam, you want to tell me about your product and what you're doing here?
Absolutely. It's a pleasure to speak with you. I'm sorry, folks. It's been a long couple of days already.
You guys have been.
And I mean, we were unpacking the first day. We had a queue within 15 minutes of us opening suitcases to put product out.
Oh, that's awesome.
Incredible.
That's awesome.
Anyway, Games and Gears manufactures a pretty comprehensive range of assistant aids to help people bring their hobby to the next level. It runs everywhere from clippers and files to paintbrushes and paintbrush care products. The paintbrushes are hands down the best travel brush on the market. The durable aluminum storage tube also doubles as the brush handle. The brush soap works as well or better than any other brush soap on the market. In my personal opinion, it works a little bit better than the Master Soap, which comes in a small round tan tin from pretty much every art store on the planet. And yeah, it's just really, really great stuff. The website is gamesandgears.co.uk. We also have a Facebook group and page, so if people want to go check out and hear from other users, by all means pop on there. We hope to see everybody at conventions. We have a lifetime guarantee on our brushes if they go squirrely for a non-user error related reason, so don't feed them to your pets or drop them in glue.
Yeah.
If you get a hold of us
big.
and the brush has eaten itself in a creative and strange way, we will just send you a replacement brush.
Nice. There's not a lot of companies that do that kind of thing, especially with brushes. In fact, I think you guys are the only ones I know of.
We're the only one that I'm aware of at all. If you bring a brush to us with a problem at a show, if possible, we can also usually replace it on site. And if not, we can definitely give you troubleshoot exactly what happened and what went wrong to allow you to, whether you continue to use our brushes or somebody else's brushes, not have the same problem again.
Yeah, that's awesome. Now, one of the things that I think is so great, and I've been a customer of yours for a long time, I have a set of the Mark III brushes, and today I got a set of Mark IV brushes.
Yep.
The travel case and the way the brushes go together. Now, I know a lot of people when they think of a brush.
The aluminum tube or the leather carry case?
The aluminum tube.
Okay.
That whole idea of, most people think of a brush as a long wooden handle with fibers at the end. Whereas in your case, it's actually like a
metal tube with the ferrule crimped onto it.
Yeah.
That then friction sockets into another metal tube.
Right.
As far as the durability of the product, I'm an idiot. I didn't notice I'd knocked my brush set out of my pocket, and I was heading off to my friendly local gaming store, and I drove over my brushes. I then got about a block and a half, and went, wait a minute, there's something missing in my pocket. Where are my brushes?
Uh-oh.
I then went home, saw them in the driveway, and went, oh no. Fortunately, they were fine.
Nice.
The leather case was pretty badly scuffed up. A couple of the brushes had popped out of the case a little bit when it fell out of my pocket,
Sure.
and the paint was chipped slightly, but everything was 100% functional.
See, now that's huge for anybody that travels, especially if you're going to a con and you have to do those last-minute touch-ups, or that I have to spend the night before the con getting my army painted. These are super awesome brushes for all that.
Absolutely.
And you have the 3 different sets that I know of. There's the Master's Detail set, which is a 0, a 00.
That's the Kolinsky brushes. I believe that's a 0, 00, and 000
Yeah.
in Kolinsky Sable.
Yeah.
We also have a synthetic brush set, which all of our brush sets are also color-coded.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
The synthetics handles are color-coded green. The Kolinskys are black. And the technical brushes that we make for specific hobby usage are blue handles. This current synthetic set of Mark IV brushes is a size 1, a size 2, and a size 3 brush in an advanced synthetic blend that is specially formulated to be durable and resistant to chemical damage and abrasion from using either inks, washes, or metallic pigments.
Yep, they are truly awesome. So again, folks, if you get a chance and you do travel either for work or what have you, really take a look at these Games and Gears brushes. They will save you tons of time and money and effort. And they're a super great product. I mean, I've carried mine all over the place, and they've been to Hawaii, they've been up to Alaska, they've been everywhere, and they're awesome.
Outstanding.
Love them.
Yeah. We also love to hear from people who use our brush or are curious about our brush on Facebook, and we like to see what y'all are working on. We actually have a community album of art, of pictures of painted minis and projects in progress that people have sent to us.
Nice.
That we love to share it with everybody else.
There you go, folks. So hit the Facebook page, hit them up, because you really can't go wrong. I mean, they're not paying for this. I've been a customer of theirs. I just bought some stuff today, and they are great product.
Yep, and we love to see folks at shows. So if we're at a show and you happen to be there too, please come by, say hello. Even if you don't buy anything, if you have any questions about how to use brush soap or how to care for your brushes better, please, we're more than happy to help.
Outstanding. So is there anything else before we close up?
Not that I'm aware of, unless you have any specific questions for me.
No, I don't. Like I said, I'm just a super happy customer. I've got, 2 sets now, and I love them. So,
well, I'm not just a rep for the company. I use them myself, and I love mine.
All right. Well, thanks, Sam, and I'll let you get back to work because you got selling to do.
Yes, indeedy. Thank you very much.
You got it. Thanks.
Yep.
Stormcaster, cool.
Okay, so now I am here with Casey Dunn, and Casey is with Best Coast Pairings, the app that basically makes a TO's life worth living. So, Casey, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself? Tell me a little bit about Best Coast Pairings and what you guys provide and do.
Excellent. Yeah, so you got my name. I'm sort of the jack of all trades on the team. I do a lot of art. I do a lot of miscellaneous. If Garrett needs something, if Ben needs something, if Paul needs something, I'm the guy who does it.
Yeah.
So I started real early with Garrett. He needed another body for some art and some feedback on things when we first started. And yeah, I've just sort of been there in the background doing the thing the whole time.
Yeah, keeping Best Coast pairings running. One of the things that I've always noticed about, and for people that don't know, Best Coast pairings, and by now you should know because we talk about it enough, but Best Coast pairings is the app that is, as an event organizer, you use this app to do your pairings, to do your scoring, and now they've just recently come out with updates that allow soft scores, so you can fold in your painting or whatever other kind of category you feel is appropriate to your event, and it basically automates the process. But one of the things that I thought was really interesting is every major event that I've been to, you guys have been here in force. So you're really standing behind it.
Absolutely. These big events are the stress test. These are where we find out all those little edge cases. Nova's a great example. Their format, by definition, is full of edge cases. I don't know how much the audience knows about the 40K GT in Nova, but they do wind path, and they roll to pods at round 5.
Yes.
And so that creates some really, really interesting edge cases, particularly around drops.
Oh, yeah.
As you go from an event where, you know, everybody just sort of keeps moving up and stays bunched together to what's effectively today would be 15, 16-man GTs.
Wow.
This morning. Or at round 5.
Yeah, in the middle of the day.
In the middle of the day, all of a sudden you're doing an entirely different event in the software than you were before.
Wow.
So that's always intriguing. And yeah, like you said, what we want to do is make the TO's life easier. That has always been our thing. That is why Garrett started this in the first place. Is running an event as a TO the math is a nightmare.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And so he started the little thing to do that, help out himself and his friends, and we were doing it, and just kept escalating and escalating and escalating. And now, like you said, we offer everything's free, everything's all this thing as a TO and a player you need to attend and or run your event is free. That's never going to change.
Right.
We offer some add-ons because we like to keep the lights on and you like to feel like it's worthwhile, you know.
Well, and developing this stuff is not, I mean, this is a lot of your time.
A lot of our time, and getting out here to these GTs is a big deal. So we offer some other things. We offer a package for stores that allows them to have all the TOs through quote unquote managed by somebody at the store, and also ticketing. Oh, so nice. You as a TO, you can ticket directly to the store and the store's account. And for some of you TOs that generate a significant amount of money, or run a significant amount of ticketing through us, may know that we have to report to the tax man.
Oh yes,
and so if you ticket through the stores that you've already paid the store, you're used to that.
Yeah.
And so that's one of the things that we offer. It is a little bit of a paid thing, but again, and then but yeah. So you mentioned the soft scores before. That's something fairly new for us. I mean, it's been forever, but teaching people about it's been tricky.
Right.
Thing we do there is, again, you set up your own math. What do you want to call that soft score, and how do you want it to impact rankings? Make paint 90% of your event score. Rock and roll.
Sure.
You know, that's absolutely there and available to you.
Right. But you can also have that soft score be meaningless in the pairings, right?
Yes.
So if I wanted to have just an overall paint score, I could have that. And yet it won't affect, you know, I have a great paint score, and now all of a sudden I'm playing the top player in the world, and so I'm dead.
No, and that's, you can set it anywhere from doesn't impact at all to whatever sort of multiplier against your other battle point scores or whatever, or Swiss that you're doing. So that, you can have that impact final placings, which is usually where TOs want to see.
Right.
That's all thing. That's all a thing that affects final.
Right.
Less so your round by round kind of thing.
Right. So now let's say that I'm not Nova and I'm not Adepticon or LVO. let's say I'm, Joe, and I've got a 30-man GT, and I want to use Best Coast pairings because I know my life will be immeasurably better because of it. You guys are still available to help out.
Oh, absolutely.
If something goes wrong on my event day and I don't know what to do, you're there.
Oh, yes. Yeah. We had a couple people hit us up on Facebook today. Little 24-man thing in the... I did not look up the location, but it was definitely from the player names in the Netherlands somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
So that was a thing where they ran into something. They wanted to do a thing, and it was like, oh, yeah, here. This. Off you go. And yeah, you hit us up on Facebook. There's 4 of us. We're always looking. And we are Americans. So there is a time zone thing.
Right.
We are East Coast and West Coast, and we're night owls. So we've hit up the Australian folks that midnight, and it's like, yeah, sure, do the thing, and how do I blank? Oh yeah, you do this and this and this. And,
yep. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, we're absolutely there for you. We can't show up to everything.
Sure.
We would love to, but we're dudes with day jobs.
Yeah, exactly. So, and I look at the Best Coast pairings thing, the event listing now and then, and it's getting crazy. I mean, you're looking at 4 and 5 majors on a weekend within 600 miles of each other, and you're just like, what? And then in Europe, there'll be half a dozen more. It's like, oh man, this whole hobby is just burgeoning. It's crazy.
It's huge. Yeah, I remember way back when it was like, oh, there's 5 events this weekend. Let's hope the servers hold up. And now it's like, yeah, was 100 and something last week. I didn't even look at it. Oh yeah, okay.
Well, that's when you're doing something right. So
I hope so. I hope that I know they got folks like you who just absolutely love it, and that's it. We're just trying to make your life easier, man. You tell us what it is. We can only meet those edge cases so closely, but really, we're just trying to provide that generic solution that makes your life easy. You can let Bob leave the middle of day one, and he, and they can come back, or Sally shows up late, and you throw them in, and off you. No, absolutely. Those are the things that we think. We do make it super easy.
It really does, because I remember the days when you're trying to do it on, first pencil and paper, and then Excel spreadsheets, and pairing was always my thing. It was always such a hassle to make sure that you had adequate, decent pairings, and there was always something that happened, and you guys have effectively eliminated that. The soft scoring that you guys have recently added, I was really super intrigued by how all that, and that came about basically from feedback from the world.
I mean, absolutely. The different TOs, different circuits and everything. Hey, no, we really care, that we really want to be able to show the hobby on those placings. Yeah. And okay, you'll see what we can do. And it takes a while, it's what works for the most number of people is an unfortunate trap that we're in.
Sure.
But I think we got a pretty elegant solution. Like I said, you give it a name and you give it a multiplier. The way that how does this interact with your regular score? And then off it goes. Yeah. And you as a TO, you go in and you set those things.
Yeah.
We're trying to find a way that works to get a little more player interaction there.
Oh.
It's tricky, especially the soft scores that are more sports scores.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That gets a little awkward when it's less blind.
Yeah.
Then
there's, I think the entire world is still searching for a good sports score methodology. So.
To go super left field, you can see that with things like Uber and Lyft and anything that offers a review.
Yes.
And even that's actually one of the problems with sports within the gaming community is it's either amazing or a train wreck.
Right.
There is no matter what the form says about threes are a tournament game.
Yeah.
No, that's not the reality. You either gave them 5 stars or you gave them 1.
Right.
And
that is always an issue. Now, I heard, and I'm not, tell me if I'm off base here, but I heard you guys are starting a ranking just within Best Coast pairings.
Yes. So
a ranking system.
Yeah, so we do pretty much everything miniatures right now. Mm-hmm. and cards as well.
Oh, yeah.
So we support Magic fully with Whir integration. So you set as a TO, you set up your event in Whir, you export that into BCP, run the event, and then export it back out the same way you would do in Whir anyway.
Right.
All of that happens. Just magic. And literally magic. That was awful. I feel that hurt hearing myself say that. Okay. So yeah, we do all the Magic's things. Yeah. They've got some quirks to their format as well. I think the last time I looked in there, we had the vendor's preferred format or the league's preferred format for 20 different game systems.
Wow.
With full faction support and everything.
Nice.
If you want to submit, preferably you submit lists the same way as well. We offer the same photo, hand input, and file upload for everything. And then, back to the rankings. So because we have all of this, hey, let's do the rankings. We offer our what's effectively a superset rankings of every game system we offer.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we like to think it's pretty cool. So it's all the same, just as like ITC. It's basically NCAA regioned.
Okay.
If you wanted to drill down like that.
Sure, that's cool.
That also circles back to the thing I was talking about earlier with stores.
Yeah.
So the stores can pay to have a few different add-on features. One of them was, again, the TO management. Yeah. Also some ticketing things that we can do. And on top of that, it allows them to generate their own internally supported rankings.
Oh, wow.
So now whatever that store is can name them their own thing, and we host all the rankings the same way that we host for ITC, and you get those. You get a store, what's effectively a store landing page.
Yeah.
Whether you have a website or not, we got the link to the rankings, links to your upcoming events. So you get your own event calendar, you get your own creatable rankings.
So for the store owner, you could pretty much automate almost all of your ongoing tournaments.
Yeah.
And
so the same way that for TOs, we allow you to swap in players real easy.
Yeah.
For stores now, you potentially can swap in TOs.
Wow.
Maybe not a judge, because there's going to be rules things.
Yeah.
But the TO, just because they don't know Whir, doesn't necessarily matter. The 40K TO can run the Magic event in the Magic TO's absence, or whatever else it is, because it's just running in BCP.
Sure.
So all the basics are consistent across all the game systems, and the store can just swap in and out those TOs however they want.
That is truly amazing. I'm even sitting here getting shocked because I didn't know it did all that, and I thought I knew it pretty well.
That is very new. It is very behind the scenes. It's a store thing.
Yeah.
So it's not the thing that normally we talk to the players at an event like this about, because let's be real, they don't really care. Yeah. It's more the TOs that are heavily involved in a large store.
Yep.
And there's some folks like that.
Well, that's awesome, Casey. I really appreciate you coming on and talking about all this stuff. It's pretty much blown my head. And like I said, it's crazy that all the stuff that it does that I didn't even know about. Is there anything else you want to talk about before we?
Let's see. No, the rankings are all the different game systems are a thing. Like I said, Magic is a thing. We have all. I think we got Legend of the Five Rings in there for those folks. We'll, of course, have Conquest in there the 40K, for the GW stuff.
Do you have the Champions card game for
Sigmar? Champions should be coming out. If it's not in there already, it'll be in soonish.
Nice.
Kill Teams is in there already for their thing. Again, speaking of system stuff, they have some certain tiebreakers and order and whatnot that's a little different from the rest. Yeah, just use it. Yeah, use the free version. I don't even care, man.
Yeah.
Just make your own life easier.
It's the truth.
And if you got something, hit us up. Yeah. Like we were talking about earlier, we can only show up at so many things. Right. And we would love to go to Bob's Garage Hammer if we could, but that's not a thing.
Oh yeah.
But there'll probably be somebody at Renegade this year, or be at an Adepticon again.
Of course, yeah.
You'll see us at LVO, all those things. But yeah, even if you're you're quote unquote, you're nobody. You're not nobody to us.
Yeah.
We care. We're going to answer. We want to see what you did. I was talking to Mike Brandt earlier about, you don't learn anything from a win.
Right.
So all those events that run it's 100 events a weekend.
Yeah.
And we don't hear from 99 of them. That's great. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
But I also, you did what and what happened?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's talk about this. How did you get there?
Yeah.
Those are the things
That's awesome.
that we need to hear too.
Yeah. Oh, I hear you. Well, thanks, Casey. I really appreciate your taking the time. I know
Absolutely.
You're busy as a one-armed bandit, a thing like this. But...
Actually, there is something.
Okay.
So speaking of sports and hobby and whatnot, one of the things that I've recommended to a few of the TOs where their community is so hobby integrated, that list doesn't have to be just a list. You can take photos of your display board as part of your list. There is no real limit on that.
Oh,
so if you as a TO wanted to leverage one thing or the other, go nuts. Make that part of the thing. And then when you provide sports and best painted, folks can see that and show that off with their list. That's part of it.
Wow.
Yeah.
See, you're doing it to me again. I'm like, oh my God, I didn't know you could do that. That is so cool.
Yeah, just because it's a list doesn't necessarily mean it has to
be a
just
picture
be
of a list. You could put your army in there. Oh,
yeah,
man.
like I said, you can do some neat stuff if you wanted to.
See, I'm just a fanboy now. I really am. Oh, that's awesome. Well, thanks, Casey.
Absolutely.
I really appreciate it. And take care, and let's head back to the real show.
Yeah, right.
All right.
So much to see.
If you would like to get a hold of us, you can reach us at our email address, which is rollingbadpodcast@gmail.com. We have a Twitter account for the podcast, and it is @rolling_bad. We also have a Facebook page, so just search Facebook for Rolling Bad. We have a Patreon page, and that is at www.patreon.com/rollingbadpodcast, all one word. You can reach us at our individual Twitter accounts. Elric is at Elric Edge, and I am at Bill Costello, Castello. All of our guest hosts and any other products or places that we mentioned during the show will have their addresses listed in the show notes.